or today, in regards to the lag. I'm just keeping an eye on it right now, and it seems to be staying green. Obviously, we started yesterday's Raw with some horrific lag, but I did get a message earlier today saying that it had been resolved. And we did just do the Wrestling Escape Pods, and that went fine. So looks like we should be okay. We should be in a much better place than we were last night. So hope everyone is well. Hope everyone is doing good after what I thought was an all right Raw. I mean, it wasn't the best Raw, but it was okay. You know, passed a bit of time, kept us out of trouble, and we move on to NXT. Now, obviously, this is a go-home show as well. I haven't actually done my predictions for Battleground. I will do them. I don't know when, though. I might do them, maybe, I don't know. Maybe tomorrow night. I mean, obviously, I'll do the review of NXT after the show tonight. So maybe after AEW tomorrow, I'll do my predictions. So maybe I'll do them then. But I do want to do some because we are doing that on Sunday. I've had a lot of people asking, are we doing AEW or are we doing NXT? We're doing NXT because of the fact that we watch WWE, and these are the stars that are going to go to the main roster eventually. So, you know, the fact that we don't watch Rampage, we don't watch, you know, I don't know, whatever they're doing, Being the Elite and all those kind of shows, just sort of means like, you know, I feel like we keep an eye on AEW, but we watch WWE. So, yeah, we'll be doing NXT on Sunday. We're doing Night of Champions on Saturday. And I've already done my predictions for Night of Champions. That's on the channel already. Quick little 1 minute thing, which, as you know, I enjoy doing those, and they're good to share over on like Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and all of those places. So yeah, they're done, but I will try and work on the Battleground ones. Tonight is actually going to be quite an interesting show because tonight we've got the semi-final of the Women's Championship tournament. Now, I don't know quite how people have felt about the tournament. Don't know quite if people are really into it and excited by it. I think we're getting to a really good stage. We've got Lyra VALKYRIA about to take on, I think, Cora JADE. And then we've got Tiffany Stratton against Roxanne PEREZ. Now, I think there's a chance that we could get Tiffany against Lyra in the final. I think it's probably more likely that we get Cora against Roxanne, though. Those two have obviously been involved in a feud in the past, and they were a tag team together. Then obviously Cora turned on Roxanne. And so, yeah, we had a little feud between them. And so now we've got this women's tournament. I think there's a chance the final could be Roxanne against Cora. So that's what I think. That's the way that I'm leaning. That's what I think is going to happen tonight. But as we said, we'll wait and see. I also think AXIOM is in action tonight. I can't remember who against, though. I did jot it down, but I don't actually have my notes by me. So let's have a little look, and we'll blast down the list and see what they've got in store for us. The headlines are those women's matches, those two women's matches. We have Nathan Frazer against Noam Dar. That obviously was made last week. I remember that. And it's DABBA KATO against AXIOM tonight. So DABBA KATO against AXIOM. We've got Eddie Thorpe, who's going to go one-on-one with Tyler Bate. So Eddie Thorpe against Tyler Bate. We've got Nathan Frazer against Noam Dar. We've got AXIOM against DABBA KATO. And then we've got those two big semi-finals, Roxanne against Tiffany and Lyra against Cora. So it should be good. Should be a good night. Looking forward to it. I think it's a go home. So there's going to be lots of final touches that are being added, which, as we know, go homes are not the best. But those two semi-finals, I think, definitely elevate this to a level that just makes it a little more interesting. Normally, the big criticism with go-home shows is the fact that a go-home show, all the final touches are done. So there's not really anything to tune in for. If you've been watching the build, by the time you get to the go-home show, It's pretty much just like, here's the video package of how we've got here, or here's the contract signing and it's going to be a slight brawl, or here's the final face-to-face, or whatever it might be. But normally it's like, just put in the little finishing touches. It's missable. It's skippable. But with this, like, we need to know who's going to be in the final. We got 2 semi-finals tonight. I mean, we could end up with Tiffany against Cora Jade. It would be heel against heel. But those two have felt like the two, dare I say, most likely to win. I mean, the thing with Roxanne is that she was champion, and obviously she had the belt took off of her due to injury or mental health or whatever it might have been. We could be at the point where we're looking to put the belt back onto her now. It could be that she's recovered and she's ready to be champ again. So she's definitely in the conversation. I would say of the 4 that are left, I feel like Lyra is least likely to win. Then I think it's probably Tiffany. Then I'll say Roxanne. And then I'll say Cora is the one I think is most likely to win. Cora's my favorite to win. Just because she's been around a while. She's never been women's champion. If she's got the belt, you can always have Roxanne win it further down the road. Whatever Roxanne has just been through, she might have recovered from, but why not just put a little bit more distance between it? Whatever it was, whether it was an injury, whether it was anxiety, whatever it was, why not just put a bit more breathing space between what happened, which wasn't that long ago, just a few months ago. Put a bit more breathing space between that and then her getting the belt back. So that's why I think Cora, who's never had it, could be a good option, because eventually she could end up dropping it to Roxanne a little bit further down the road. So I think Cora it could be her time. It could be her time. So I'm going to say Cora favorite, Roxanne second favorite, Tiffany, who I actually really like. I do rate Tiffany. I'll have her as third favorite, and then Lyra VALKYRIA as being at the bottom. She has not been around that much. She's not been here that long. I think she's good. I think she's someone that they do see achieving something. Whether that's a women's championship, I'm not sure. But I could see her definitely being a women's tag champion. I could see her competing for the title a number of times. Whether she wins it before she gets called up, I'm not sure. But I could definitely see Lyra making it to the main roster. I could see all 4 of these getting to the main roster quite comfortably. So the women's division is in quite a healthy place at the moment, to be honest. It's in quite a healthy place. Add in the fact you've got JC Jane, Gigi Dolan, as we said, Fallon as well. I like Thea Hale, who, she needs a lot of work, but I like her. So, yeah, there's some good women around at the moment. Let's jump in the chat and see what people are talking about, see where the conversation is. Daze, in NXT, who would you say are the 4 pillars for the women in being the next Becky, Charlotte, Bayley? Tiffany is definitely for me, says Hasib. I don't think we've quite got a 4 pillars. I was watching NXT when the 4 pillars were in NXT, and they felt like the 4 pillars. I think if you was to come up with 4 pillars now, you would be coming up with it. You would be creating it. It didn't feel like, it felt a bit more organic. It felt like they were the 4 that stood above the rest. We even actually got a fatal 4-way between all 4 of them. I think there was a lot of like friendships that were going on behind the scenes as well. And I think the fact that like Sasha and Bayley, I believe, had come in from the indie scene. So they had like quite a bit of credibility before they even came in. Charlotte was Ric Flair's daughter. I would say Becky was the one that maybe struggled a bit more. She of the 4, I feel that Becky, am I right in saying she was the only one that didn't win the NXT women's title? Bayley had it. Sasha had it. Charlotte had it. I don't think Becky ever won it. So of the four, I think Becky was the one that struggled because she had wrestled, but I seem to remember that she had actually stepped away from wrestling and then got an opportunity to come into NXT and kind of return to it. So I think her career had been a little stop-start. I don't think she came in with tons of momentum. She knew what she was doing, though, so she did have that kind of back-in. You know, she had that experience. But I think of the four, she's the one that struggled. But at the time, they felt like the four pillars. Like it wasn't a thing that we had to like. Who do you think it is? It was just right there in front of you. So I don't think there is. I don't think there is four. I think you could pick four people that are good and are going to go on to have great futures. You know, you can pick Roxanne and you can pick Cora and you can pick Tiffany and so on, right? But it's not the same. It's not the same. Because back then they were, I think, hanging out backstage. There's pictures of all four of them, like throwing up the four as well. Because I think they were like basing it on the Four Horsemen as well. So like they were kind of a faction without being a faction. They were like, there was a friendship there. There was a lot more to it. And so it wasn't like you wasn't speculating as to who the four were. Because the thing is, you could name four names now. And then someone could go, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it is Tiffany, or I don't think it is Cora. I think the other person's Wendy Chu, right, or whatever. It's subjective. That was not the case when it came to Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, and Bayley. There was no conversation to be had. That they were the four, and so we don't really have that. But there are talents that are going to go to the main roster. As I said, I mean, I think Roxanne. There's high hopes for her. Cora, there's high hopes for her. I really like Tiffany. I think there's probably high hopes for her as well. And maybe Lyra. I mean, maybe the four that we've got now are the four at the moment. But Wendy, I don't know. I really like Wendy, but she's a bit out there, isn't she? That's quite an out there type gimmick. But, I mean, it's strange because we've only literally just lost the likes of Zoe Stark, for example. And obviously we got Gigi and JC. I mean, the women's division's, in a really good place at the moment. It's in a really good place. So, we've got some good talent that's coming through. But there is nothing that says Becky can't someday win the NXT Women's Championship, said Jim. That's true. Who is your favorite women's wrestler right now in NXT, says Wilds. That's a really good question. I think it might be... That's a really good question. I think it might be Tiffany. Might be Tiffany. I do like Lyra. Yeah. I think it might be Tiffany. It might be Tiffany. The reason being, I think she's got a very good gimmick. I think that her gimmick of being that kind of daddy's girl is... It's actually a dangerous gimmick because it's a gimmick that if you can't back it up in the ring, if you don't have the personality to carry it, then you can just come across like a bimbo. You can just come across like a bit of a ditz, and there's not really much to you. But her promos are actually really engaging. She is a good talker. She's very confident. She comes out with little sayings like Tiffany Epiphanies. And, she's got these, like, just little things that she chucks in that just makes her... And, her facial expressions when she's talking about certain people and she's, like, reacting, turning her nose up to them. You can tell that she is... I don't believe she is that person. I believe she's playing a character. And I believe that she is smart enough to know how to make that character work. I think... a lot of people could fall into the trap and make the mistake of thinking that she is that character because she plays it so well, and thinking that she's just not worth, she's not worth anyone's time. She's just a bimbo. She's spoiled, and actually believing she is the character because she's that good at playing the character. But I don't believe she is that character. It might be a part of her personality that she's exaggerating. But I think she's very good. And then in ring, I mean, yeah, she's obviously still learning whatever, but she gets stuck in, man. She doesn't get lost in the ring or anything. Like she's putting that work in. She really strikes me as someone that really wants this to be a success. And she's putting that work in, and we're seeing she's going out there and she's playing the character well. She's entertaining in her promos, and then she goes out and she has good matches. So I would say Tiffany at the moment. I'm really enjoying what she's doing. It's good that she's back. It's just a shame she had that injury that kept her out for so long. Jim said, I think Cora is going to win after beating Roxy. William said, for some reason, I can walk into any situation and not be in any danger. I am such a loser. I'm not worth anyone's time. William, you're the biggest winner in this community. You shut your face. James said, it's all good having talent, but if you aren't booking good talent, doesn't mean nothing. Kian, shout out to you. Defcon Eric said, Tiffany is a worker. She's putting in that work. Love to see it. Retribution said, how are you? My new job's been going okay. Very good, I guess. However, I did already report one of the project trainers to the manager for being rude and unfair. Okay. Not messing around. But Intoxicated Beats said, how's her athletic skills? Very good. Well, Tiffany, very good. I think to be honest, a lot of the people that are in NXT right now, most of them have not come from a wrestling background. They've come from an athletic background. So most of them are runners, weightlifters, American football players. I think Lash Legend, who, you look at Lash Legend as being like, just a bit of a lost cause in the wrestling world. I mean, I've not seen really much good out of her. Not seen many good promos. I've certainly not seen any good matches. But the one thing you can't say about Lash Legend is that she's not athletic. I believe she was like a female quite high level as well, female basketball player. So this is all part of this, Triple H's, what he used to be in charge of, this Next in Line, this NIL program, where they went out and they found some of the best young talent that maybe had just fallen short of the professions they wanted to be in, which I must admit does kind of grate on me a little bit. I'm not a massive fan of this way of recruiting. But what I do admit is that, if you've got a good athlete who has realized that their dream's not going to come true in, say, basketball or American football or whatever it might be, and you can convince them that wrestling is the way forward for them, you have got all the raw ingredients that you need to make a great wrestler. And I've said that about Logan as well. I feel like Logan's exactly the same. Logan has all those raw ingredients to be a good wrestler. He just needs, working with and to put that work in. Same as, all the ones that are in NXT at the moment. So, yeah, there's a lot of good potential. There's a lot of good talent. They're getting excellent training as well. I mean, Shawn Michaels is there, all day, every day. The trainers have proven themselves to be able to develop people. I mean, Bianca, for example, I don't believe she had any wrestling experience before joining NXT. I think she came from CrossFit and was doing like cross training, like athletic type stuff, athletics. She came in from that. Look at her now, main event in WrestleManias, putting on banging matches, breaking records for longest reigning women's champion, all this kind of stuff. So doing a great job. So that training system that they've got, they really do know how to take people that have got those kind of raw skills and how to make them into really impressive superstars. I feel like this version of NXT will provide more main roster stars than the previous NXT did over its last 5 years or so, says Russ with Andy. I think it's tricky. I think that you could be right. Part of that might be, though, that Triple H is now booking the main roster. And I think that Triple H is obviously going to want to make sure that the link between NXT and the main roster is stronger than it's ever been. And that those opportunities are there for the NXT superstars. Whereas I don't think that Vince cared. I think Vince wanted system for getting talent as and when he needed it. But I don't think he was really thinking or worrying about, I need to make sure I'm calling people up, it looks good, or I need to make sure that I'm taking from NXT so that we can bring new people in and we can keep it fresh. And I don't think he really thought about NXT at all. I just think that, when it came time to freshen up the roster, he would go and either select who he wanted, have a quick look or send some people, or he'd ask Triple H who's ready. And he would then maybe watch a video of who's ready and see, how could he use them? What does he think? Kind of a thing. This could result in more main roster stars. I can't say it's because we're getting better talent, though. Because, before we were digging into New Japan, we were digging into the Indies. We were bringing in, Sammy, Kevin. We were going to Japan. We were getting Nakamura. We were getting Finn Balor. We were getting Asuka. We were going to TNA. We were getting the likes of Samoa Joe. We was, bringing in the likes of Austin Aries. We brought back... It was Triple H that brought back Drew McIntyre. We were really going out around the world trying to get the best talent from around the world. And we stopped doing that. Instead, we started to recruit athletes. And to be honest, part of it might be because of the pandemic. And indie wrestling kind of ground to a halt. So indie wrestling kind of shut down for a little while. And so they might have looked at it and gone, well, we're going to have to just create our own superstars. And as a result, I think they've now got a system that they know works where they can take talent and create their own superstars. I mean, what I will say as well is I do think that a lot of the superstars on the indies tend to be on the smaller sides. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's a case that the bigger guys can make more money in, say, American football. And if you're a big guy, is it easier? Is it more financially beneficial for you to go into American football than to try and get into the world of professional wrestling? But if you look at the indie scene, we're not seeing like giants on the indie scene. We're not seeing loads of big guys out there on the indie scene. And I think that's another reason as to why we went down this road. Because if you do want those Odyssey Jones, those Von Wagner type people, you probably are going to have a look at, people that haven't quite made it to the NFL, that haven't quite made it to, the major leagues of basketball and whatever, and like recruit that way. Because if you go to the indies, like there seems to be a real lack of bigger guys. And we all know that Vince, if we know one thing about Vince, he loves the bigger guys. So it might not be a factor so much going forward, but now that Triple H is in charge. But I really hope, and I think we are actually, I really want to see a mixture going forward. I think there's definitely a place for them to go and get athletes and train them up. But I don't think you can solely rely on that, because then I think you end up with things like NXT 2.0, which for me was a little rough at the start, as you had pretty much everyone learning how to wrestle. And everyone was like green, and it was really difficult. Like we were leaning a bit on bringing people down from the main roster to try and provide a bit of star power as these people were learning. But it's great now to see the likes of Dragon Lee coming in. That's a great sign that we are going out and signing people like that. Like Vikingo, he would have been great to have tried to have got into NXT. If we could have got Vikingo in, that's the kind of talent I would love to see NXT sign in. And then again, having a look, seeing if we can get anyone in from New Japan again. Keep looking at New Japan. We should have got Jay White. I'm not saying he should have come to NXT, but honestly, I think the reactions that he's getting in AEW, I think might have opened some people's eyes. Don't forget there was a lot of people that were speculating about bringing Jay White into WrestleMania, and we were like, I just wouldn't do that because people just don't know him. And I think you're seeing him now coming out the crowd on AEW, getting no reaction. He can cut through the crowds and interfere, and there's no crowd noise whatsoever. Like, we literally saw that on a show a few weeks ago. So, like, I think it's maybe not out of the realms of reality that he could have found himself going into NXT for a little bit, just a little bit, just to, you know, get him settled in, get people familiar with him, build him up as a big star, like, you know, have him as the top guy, put the belt on him, make him a big deal, get people talking, and then, like, look to bring him up maybe later in the year. Whether he would have wanted to have done that, I really don't know. But as we said, listen, Nakamura was a former IWGP champion. He went to NXT. Finn Balor, who can speak English. Like, you know, it's not just like Asuka and Nakamura and Kushida, although all of them went to NXT. But Finn Balor went to NXT as well. And so, you know, Jay White potentially could have gone to NXT. I think you could have got away with putting him straight on Raw. I think you could have got away with that. But look, this is my point. I think them going out and signing talent that's actually out there doing it in the Indies or doing it in New Japan, or who knows, go and get Jordan Grace. If Jordan Grace is free and is no longer with Impact, go and sign Jordan Grace. Bring her in. Imagine her in this women's division. Mix that in with these athletes, and then, you know, then we're cooking. I still think that we've got a lack of that indie talent in NXT. I think that if we could sprinkle a bit more in, then we're really going to start to be getting somewhere. Because I think NXT is in a good place at the moment. I think that talent that was green during NXT 2.0, I think it's found its feet. Some of which has already moved to the main roster, which is good to see. So, you know, we've got to a good place, and then we've brought in the likes of Dragon Lee. Obviously, Roxanne, she came in last year. She was, you know, coming in from Ring of Honor, being trained by Booker. So, you know, we are bringing in people that have got wrestling experience before joining, and as we said, that's I think important. What time is it? We've got 20 minutes to go. LA Dort Knight says, I've purchased a Wrestling Daze watch-along simulator. When he's not doing live streams, you can get a DLC where he sees Super Chats and is on time, and it's $5.99 extra. Imagine that. In a parallel universe, there is a version of me that does see Super Chats and reads them at the time that they appear on screen. I'm jealous of that guy. I am jealous of that guy. Big Time said, can I say the new thumbnail is solid? Tiffany, Cora, Roxanne, Render looks phenomenal. Big Time, shout out to you, buds. Appreciate it. Steve said, WWE would never let Vikingo wrestle his style. They would water him down. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I think they would alter it. I think, but if you look at like what they're letting AXIOM do, and if you look at like what Dragon Lee's been doing, I think WWE do have an appetite for that kind of wrestling. Whether they would allow him to do everything he's doing at the moment, I don't know. I mean, could they water him down? Sure. But I think by and large, he would still be able to deliver great matches, however they look. I mean, what I would say is that he has got a great moveset. I think that I think it comes down to personal taste as to whether you think that doing move after move after move after move with little in the way of selling, if that constitutes a good match or not. I'm not accusing him of doing that, but I'm just saying that if they were to alter his style, whereby he was to do less of the big spots, but the big spots that he did do meant more, I would be all for that. I would be fine with that. This is just where it comes down to personal taste, though. So watering him down, maybe. But if the end result is still that the match is a banging match, like I would say that wouldn't be an issue. I would say that's not going to be a problem. I like what I saw of him in that match with Kenny. I didn't think it was a 5-star match, and I think Meltzer gave that 5 stars. I didn't think it was a 5-star match, but I was impressed. Impressed to the point where I would definitely like to see more of him, but I don't want to see more of him on like the regular basis on AEW. I think at the moment, I just want to, bring him in for like, he kind of feels like an attraction, He does feel special. He does feel like he can do things that maybe other people can't do. And so at the moment, I'd love to see him at Wembley. I'd love to see him get brought in for a few of those big shows and maybe the odd Dynamite as well. But if he did come into WWE and we could find a way of using him in NXT, I think it's difficult, to be honest, because I think this is kind of what we're seeing with Dragon Lee as well. I think Dragon Lee is very good, and AXIOM, but they're good as attractions. They're good where you bring them in and they impress you for a match and you go, wow, that's, amazing. But if you see it week after week after week after week, it does lose its appeal. It would be exactly the same if we were to see Andre the Giant every week, Andre was the success that he was because he was around in the days of the territories. So he could go from territory to territory and, he would constantly have fresh eyes looking at him going, wow, look at the size of him. He's amazing. So he had his whole career where he would, be going in front of new eyes, fresh faces. Of course, he would return to these places, but, he wouldn't return for 12 months or whatever because he'd be off doing other places. And I think that had Andre just stayed in WWE and just, had a run the same way that, say, Roman did or Hogan did, I think he would have lost some of his appeal. I think we saw that actually with the Big Show. Big Show, very similar. Big Show didn't feel that special towards the end. I mean, certainly at the start when he first came in and maybe a few times throughout his run, but by and large, he lost a lot of his mystique and a lot of his appeal just from overexposure. And I think the same, unfortunately, is true of that lucha style, certainly in WWE. This is why we're struggling really to build, Rey Mysterio seems to have had the cheat code. He seems to have found a way of making it work. He seems to be one of the only exceptions to that rule. But I mean, there's plenty of that people that have fought that lucha style that just haven't succeeded in WWE or have done well, but have soon sort of outstayed their welcome. That would be my concern with Vikingo. I think that he could come in and he could be amazing. He could be eye-catching, and then we just sort of get used to it. And then he struggles because it's just the special stuff doesn't look that special anymore. I mean, honestly, Sin Cara, I remember Sin Cara when Sin Cara came in. The video package for him was stunning. The video package looked so impressive. And you really felt like Vikingo, someone special is arriving. And then he soon lost his mystique. You botch a few moves, whatever, which I believe is what he did. Botched a few moves. People started to, not feel that he was that great anymore. I think the stuff that was impressive soon didn't feel that impressive. And there's just a few, reasons like that for it. I think it's hard for that lucha style. It's hard for that lucha style. I think there's maybe a deeper appreciation for it in AEW and the AEW fan base. I don't know if that's a different fan base. I don't know. That's an interesting conversation. Feel like the Lucha Bros have done well in AEW. I feel obviously Ray has done well in WWE, but there's plenty of people that have struggled. More people have struggled than have succeeded with that kind of lucha style in North America. That's a whole separate conversation. Big Time said, a lot of call-ups seem to get no reaction. I know it will need to be given time, but WWE is not helping the cause, having them wrestle other low-tier main roster stars that are ice cold. Ice cold. Jim said, the original Sin Cara was rushed to the main roster. I'm surprised there isn't a new Sin Cara. New Sin Cara. Daze, it's crazy. I've been to a lot of AEW shows. It's crazy how they forgetting wrestling history. That's interesting, James. What do you mean by that? But what do you mean by that? What do you mean? You think AEW are forgetting? I mean, if you've been to a lot of AEW shows, that would suggest to me that you were. I don't know if you are now, but you were a fan to the point where you went along. If you feel they're forgetting wrestling history, like how do you think that has shown itself? I'm not saying you're wrong. I think it's a very interesting conversation. How do you feel Zoe has been on the main roster? Do you think she can be a success? I think they're doing well with Zoe, actually, because they've put her, she's only been on there a couple of weeks. And so far, she's featured on both Raws in matches. They not only had her in matches, but they gave her a little video package showing her working out, putting the work in. First of all, she did a little backstage thing where she sort of challenged Nikki. Nikki was just minding her own business, as Zoe kind of came across as a bit of a bully. Nothing too bad, but, came across as a bit of a bully, and we had a match. That's fine. Then we saw her backstage again, talking with Nikki, but Candice stepped in. And then we ended up getting Nikki and Candice. Zoe won, but, Nikki on the outside. So there's a bit of a story there in regards to, we've been waiting to see what's going to happen with Nikki and Candice. And that story is kind of been combined with Zoe. Zoe getting the win again. Not only has she been on the show a couple of weeks, not only has she picked up 2 wins, but they also gave her that little quick vignette thing as well. So, I mean, listen, 2 weeks in, no complaints, to be honest. I've said before as well, I think you've got to remember the difference between being in NXT and being on the main roster. So, for Zoe to go from being in NXT where you compete in front of, 200 people, 300 people? I don't know how many of that place can hold, but we're talking a few hundred. And not only that, but in the same building each week. I mean, don't forget, as soon as you're done with the show, you can go back home, go out with your mates, go for some drinks, pop round to someone's house, or do whatever, right? But you can go back home. I mean, it's just completely different in regards to being on the main roster. Because on the main roster, you've got, first of all, you've got big names. I mean, can you imagine walking around backstage and there's Becky and there's Charlotte and there's Bianca and there's, Triple H and there's Michael P.S. Hayes, there's Bruce Pritchard, there's, Randy Orton or Riddle or Sammy or whoever, right? But you've got all these people around, like you are the new kid. It'd be like going to flipping school, your first day at school. So you've got this sort of settling in period that you need to form some relationships. You need to find your place. It's just silly things like you walk into a locker room. Well, where do you put your stuff? Do you know what I mean? Like you are literally starting again. But it's not only that. You got like some questions. Who do you go to? Who are you talking to? Who's your producer for your match? Like, where are you getting your information from? Like, you're so used to it being in the same building. I mean, like, all of a sudden, you don't even know the layout of the buildings now because every week you're in a different arena. And not only that, you got to get there. This now means every week you got to get flights and cars and rentals and travel. And then, like, by when are you getting back home? And what circuit are you on? You've got house shows as well. They did do house shows in NXT, but largely they're just in Florida. And if they're in Tampa, that's like an hour, is it? Drive to get back to Orlando if you live in Orlando. So even if you're doing house shows, you can get back home that night. You can't really do that if you're, going to certain places. I think they tend to do Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think that's kind of the current setup now. So they tend to only do house shows of a weekend unless they're going abroad, like to the UK. And obviously that's coming up. They're coming over to the UK for Money in the Bank. So, and Saudi Arabia this weekend. So I don't think Zoe's on that card, but yeah, we've spoke about it. I think it's very easy to just see people get called up and then expect them to go into these big programs. When the truth of the matter is, oh man, let them get their feet under the table, let them get settled in, let them, let things get settled down first, because it's kind of like that first day at school kind of a situation. So I think, look, Zoe, considering she's had a couple of matches, they've already had a vignette with her. She's only been there for a few weeks. Lovely. Yeah, great. Tick. I like her, and I think we'll get somewhere with her. I think she's a good talent. Kalisto had potential, said big time. The ladder spot at TLC, beat Alberto Del Rio for the US title, won the Cruiserweight title, tag title with Sin Cara. They tried positioning him as the next Rey. Adam said, Kenny Omega has revealed the release date for AEW Fight Forever video game. It comes on all consoles and Nintendo Switch on Thursday, June 29th. I wanted to see that comment, actually. James said, they're stuck in war mode. It's crazy when really we're all winners to have this much wrestling all week, says James. That's a good point. Do you know, I mean, that is something that I do criticize AEW for. I think that they had a choice when they first started as to how they wanted to position themselves. So they are starting a company and they are coming into the professional wrestling space, right? So they're coming in. And so when they start this company in 2019, they can choose as to whether they're going to just stay quiet about WWE, not say anything about WWE. Or they can be respectful to WWE, give WWE their flowers for what they've managed to achieve. This is a company that's been around since the 60s, in all fairness. So, you know, you can praise them for that. You can praise them for their history, the characters. I mean, I've got to think WWE played a big part in the majority of professional wrestling fans' appreciation for wrestling, whether they started with WWE and then moved on to other things. Unless you was around in the territories and you just weren't into WWE, you know, maybe you got into Jim Crockett promotions, or maybe you got into like your local territory and WWE just wasn't on your radar. But I think really since the 90s, if you got into professional wrestling, there's probably a good chance it was because of WWE. I do think that AEW had the opportunity to sort of acknowledge that and, like, you know, be respectful and not like fire shots and all this kind of stuff. And if asked about what you think about WWE running a show on such and such date, you know, I think it's great. I think more wrestling out there, the better, you know, and they're putting on a product that's slightly different to ours as well. So we feel that we cater for a slightly different audience, but certainly there's crossover. And it'd be great if WWE fans would come and check us out. You know, they could have took that approach. They could have took that approach. They could have took the approach of not saying anything about WWE. Or you could have took the approach that they did take, which is where you say, we're here to offer the alternative. We are here to offer you that sports-based wrestling that is just, you know, not being given to you at the moment. We're here for the lapsed fans type situation. And the thing is, once you take that approach, you're going to ruffle feathers. WWE are going to fire shots back. I mean, in all fairness, whatever you approach you take, WWE are not going to welcome you into the family, are they? WWE are a business that want all of the attention. They want the monopoly. They don't want any other players in this space. They don't feel that they need any players in this space. I don't know that they would say that publicly, but for them, they've got NXT, which can create talent from nothing, from just athletes. They've got their two main roster shows. They've been around the world. They've done shows everywhere in their history, and they've got fan bases, a fan base that's global. What do they need any other players in the pro wrestling space for? They don't. So publicly, they might not want to say that, but I'm pretty sure that's how they feel. So look, whatever AEW were going to do, they was probably going to get resistance. But it's up to them in it as to how they want to pitch it. They chose to go with we're going up against WWE. That then certainly fueled this war, as you said, mentality. And if you're going to do that, you're going to have WWE fans coming after you. You know, WWE fans aren't going to, you know, tolerate that. There's going to be a divide. And then you had them going up against NXT. You had the battle of the ratings. AEW certainly won that battle. But as Triple H said, well done. You beat our developmental. Good for you. And, you know, now we've got, like, you know, you've had other things going on behind the scenes, of course. And, you know, WWE have took shots back as well. But I think, you know, you can't really control what WWE are going to do. You can only control what you're going to do. And they chose to position themselves as the anti-WWE. And I don't know. I think it would be interesting to know if, what is it now, 4 years down the road nearly? So when did they start? September, October 2019? So, you know, once we get there this year, it'll be 4 years. It'd be very interesting to have a very honest sit down. That would be great. Imagine that. That would break the internet if we sat down and had an honest conversation with Tony Khan. And if we was to say to him, look, would you go like anti-WWE the way that you did? Or would you actually go a different direction now if you used to start now? Also, would you say sports-based presentation like you did before? Because that's something that's been thrown back at AEW quite a bit, is that sports-based presentation, which, to be honest, has not been showing itself at times. And then again, you know, they have strayed into doing sports entertainment. You know, I mean, look at some of the stuff that MJF and Jericho have been doing. I mean, they did like a whole sing-song thing, did a couple of times, actually, where MJF has done like sing-songs and whatever. So, you know, that again, you know, whenever you get a segment like that, then you get WWE fans coming back with sports entertainment, like, you know, sports-based presentation, blah, blah, blah. I do think that it would be very interesting to see what he would have to say about that, and to see if he would, you know, I'd like to know what mistakes he thinks he's made, and have a, like, you know, for him to like come out and be like a very, I'm not saying he's going to do that, or I'm not saying he even should do that. I'm just saying it'd be very interesting if he did. But it's, yeah, I mean, look, they've done well. They're still around, and that Wembley show is going to be a big success. It's already been a big success. And they've just managed to secure Collision, of course. So things are going pretty good for AEW, by and large. I know they're struggling with their Double or Nothing tickets that got mentioned yesterday, but by and large, seem to be holding I don't think a terrible number in the 800,000s. So we'll have to see. And we'll also have to see about NXT, which is just beginning. We got Lyra, VALKYRIA. My ferocity. This is fun, isn't it? Look at this. This is proper old school, where they cut promos in front of like funky backgrounds. Do you remember when they used to do that? Like Hogan and Warrior and Macho Man, like cutting promos in front of their own logos. This is great. This is great. They should totally do this on the main roster. I love it. Super old school. So we are hearing from the 4 participants. Coach shout out to you, said, unfortunately, they don't have Badger Blast, so they give you Diet Badger Blast. What the hell's Badger Blast? What's Badger Blast? I don't even know what that is, Coach Co. Right, we've gone over to NXT, and it looks like we're going to be starting with Lyra. We've got a Storm and Rain, and there is Lyra, VALKYRIA. There is the NXT Women's Championship. I like Lyra. Every time I look at Lyra, right, whenever I see her, I always think, right, and it's such a silly thing to think, but I always think, oh, I hope she's wearing that ring gear. She wore this ring gear that I loved. It was just black and red. It's just black, what she normally wears, but it was black. Her boots, though, were red. And it was just really simple, but it really popped. Really looked good. And every time I see her now, I'm like, oh, I hope she's wearing that gear. And then I see it's not, and I'm like, oh. Oh. It's wearing some gold and green. Ugh. Here's Cora Jade then. Cora Jade against Lyra VALKYRIA. Do you think the location for the first show of Collision will confirm if Punk is back, or will they go Daly's place, which is the backup if they've not worked out things with Punk? I think it will be important, yes. I can't say 100% it's going to dictate the fact that he's coming back or not. Because you're going to get a great crowd if you go to Daly's place or Chicago, to be honest. Daly's place is home. And you're going to get a great reaction if you go Daly's place. You're going to get a great reaction if you go Chicago. You could absolutely bring CM Punk in back to Daly's place and get a great reaction wherever that happens. So I think you could go either place. I think if they announce Chicago, if you announce Chicago, you surely are guaranteeing CM Punk. If you announce Daly's place, it would suggest that you don't have him, but I think you could pull off the swerve and he could still come in. So, yeah, I would say it's important. Oh, just short by Lyra. Lyra with a bit of a botch there. She tried to springboards. Oh, she just seems to fall short. It was over at the far side. Can I just say, Lyra... So there was a big overhand that came in by Cora Jade. These two, I love these shots, man. I love those strikes. I love those strikes. So I think it was Cora that did it first. These big overhands that were raining down. Oh, yeah. I think she tried to do like a springboard, like stunner of some kind. Couldn't quite get it. Ended up slipping. Maybe these two just going a little too fast out of the gate at the start. But it doesn't matter. We're back underway. Nice reversal there by Cora. Cora with a stretch being applied to Lyra. Lyra being kicked down. Going for the cover. Kick out by Lyra. As we said, this is the semi-final. Winner will go to the final. Charging over, looking to bounce off into a stomp by Cora Jade. Cora looking for the cover on Lyra. Lyra kicks out. Thing with NXT is it is fast-paced. I mean, the matches can be fast-paced, but the whole show is quite fast-paced. I mean, normally my notes are like 3 pages long as we go backstage and we go here and we go there. There's a lot of stuff that goes into an NXT show. So it feels like this match is going to go a little while. I hope it does. It deserves to, but equally, I feel like we've probably got a lot of stuff we need to get to as well, because normally we do. Nice missile drop kick there by Lyra as Cora goes down. Lyra is on her knees, trying to get back to her feet as Cora is down. Nice missile. I love the kicks. Nice. She's got great kicks, Lyra. Nice. Grabbing Cora, looking for a suplex. Nice. Bridges. Rolls through, but she's in a guillotine. She's in a guillotine. Cora's got a guillotine. She throws a knee to the midsection. Lyra backs into the corner. Cora charges over, goes for a knee strike. Lyra grabs Cora. What's she going to look to do? Throw her. Throws her. Tell you, some of these suplexes, they do worry me a little bit. They're the kind of things that if you just get them slightly wrong, like Cora's head was quite close to the mat there as she rotated over. But it was fine. Against the ropes goes Lyra. Cora tries to drop an elbow into Lyra. Lyra with a spin kick, going for the cover. 1, 2. She got her. Did she get her? She got her? I was just waiting for Cora to kick out. She didn't kick out. Lyra goes through. No way. So no way. That was my 4th pick to win. That's a lovely spin. Oh, look at the blood. Blood on the side of the head there of Cora. So, bit of blood on the side of the head. I don't know that didn't go the way it was meant to or anything. I can't say that that's botched or whatever, but... What? Do you know what? I was just talking about how that match could, deserves time, but it might end quite quickly. Because we've got a lot to get to. That has ended quickly. Oh, no, man. She just got attacked. Oh, no. Lyra's down now. She's walloped her leg with a stick. Cora is unloading on Lyra. Lyra beats Cora. That is. And then Cora attacks Lyra after. I wonder if that's going to be one of those, she's not going to make it. You can't have Cora take her place, though. You can't attack her and get rewarded. I tell you what, though, that does make me wonder about Roxanne winning, because if Cora isn't in the final, does that mean that Tiffany's going to get there? Because if Lyra's there, that's your face. Lyra's your face. I don't think you would do face versus face, although we are doing Seth AJ. So, you could do face versus face. But I don't know. I think that result makes it more likely that Tiffany wins and that we get Tiffany against Lyra. Cora should have won, said Stuart. Cora going full Tonya Harding. Tiffany's going to be champ then, says James. Matthew said, I watched an old WWE pay-per-view, Kane versus Undertaker in 98 with special guest Stone Cold on the network. Very good. I would like to see Lyra. I'd like to see Cora. Can see the match and be in a feud between them. Yellow Orange said, it was weird because I just can't see Roxanne and Lyra in the final. Austin said, Tiffany for NXT Women's Champion. Do the right thing. I think you could be right. I think you could be right. I mean, listen, I really thought Roxanne, Cora final. They've got a history. We can easily revisit that history. I think they love Roxanne, and I'm just waiting for them to put the belt back on her. That's what I'm waiting for. I thought Lyra was, of the four, the least likely to win this. And she's just got through to the final. So I genuinely am surprised at that. But I like it. I like it. I like Lyra. I think she's got good strikes. I thought that was a fast-paced match. They were laying into each other. I love these. Oh, these overhands. Bang, raining down these big shots. I enjoyed those. Some of the kicks maybe looked just a little short at times, and obviously she did slip and botch. But it's not the end of the world, is it? Not the end of the world. I thought the match was all right. I tell you what I liked about it. I mean, it felt like they were having a fight. I feel like I've just watched two women having a fight. Two women really battling to try and, that was good. It was good. Bottom line, I enjoyed it. But who wins now out of Roxanne and Tiffany? Dakota has got a torn ACL and is out for 6 to 9 months, says Alexander. Shout out to you, buds. Do you think Lyra might be taken out of the finals, says Yellow Orange? Don't know. I mean, it could be a bit of a Cody situation where we're putting that doubt in and then she makes it, right? It could be that we're actually giving her the excuse as to why she's not going to win the final. You know, she's going to go into it not 100%, and then she'll end up losing to Tiffany. So Tiffany's the champ, but if only Lyra had been 100%, she would have got it. So we could be setting up the excuse for Tiffany to win, or we could be setting up an excuse for Lyra to be removed. There's no way of knowing, is there? There's no way of knowing as to what they're planning on doing It could be. But the only thing I would say is that if we are going to take Lyra out of the final, we can't put Cora in. You can't reward Cora for attacking her opponent after the match. And so as a result, she now gets to go to the final. So that would mean that you either have to replace it with someone that wasn't in the tournament, which I think is messy. I don't like that. Or you make Tiffany against Cora the final now, you know? So you could do that, but I don't think that would be very satisfying. So I think she's got to go, to be honest. Dragunov attacking Dijak is raising the shutter, the same shutter that Dragunov was trapped under a few weeks ago. He's trying to close this shutter down on Dijak. Referees have come over to try and prevent that from happening. So Dijak attacked. These two have been feuding for quite a while now. Last man standing match at Backlash coming up between these two. Here's AXIOM coming out next. It's tricky in it, to be honest, because I sort of feel like that last match was... I really enjoyed it, and I sort of wish it had longer. Because, to be honest, I'm not really into AXIOM. And I could have done with more of that last match. I could have done with more of it. I'd have been down for more of that last match. Dragunov beats. We're just seeing 3 weeks ago, AXIOM beating Scripps. Tentpole in 316. I assume you're watching AEW instead of NXT on Sunday. No, we're doing NXT. James said, Daze, fans, what's the point in the tournament? It's so predictable. NXT just went, say what now? Yeah, it's good. I really like it. I really like it. Okay, so coming up next, we got AXIOM, DABBA, KATO. DABBA, KATO. The match needed more time. They were working well together, so it's big time. Reggie Simpanold got fat. Haven't we all? Here's DABBA KATO then stepping into the ring. So 16 minutes into the show. And I mean, what I would say is I think DABBA KATO's got quite a... Look at the size difference here. This is mental. This is mental. This size difference is mental. Wow. DABBA KATO looking at AXIOM. Tries to throw in a shot. Kick coming in there by AXIOM. AXIOM again kicking away, trying to keep at distance. DABBA KATO trying to get AXIOM in the corner. AXIOM gets out the way. DABBA KATO grabs the leg. This is actually quite an interesting little matchup here. AXIOM flips over. I don't know why he's not A-Kid anymore. He's a pretty good-looking guy, you know. He's a pretty good-looking guy. Like, it's not like we've got a problem and he's like really ugly. And it's like, better put a mask on him. He's actually a good-looking guy. I don't know why we've put him back in a mask. I think this mask really hurts him. Because you can't see him selling. I wonder what the logic is. I wonder what the thought process was as to why they put him in a mask. DABBA KATO hurling AXIOM back in the ring. But yeah, if you watched A-Kid in NXT UK, you will have seen that. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. Kick coming in there by AXIOM. Axiom trying to go off the ropes. Drop kick. Down goes DABBA KATO. Perhaps it's to maybe make him stand out. I mean, I don't think there's anyone else with a full mask like that. Or certainly there wasn't. Clothesline. DABBA KATO picking up. Oh, and just sit down powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. DABBA KATO picks up the win. DABBA KATO with the victory. I mean, look at this. We're 18 minutes in. We've had 2 matches. We've had Dragunov beating Dijak. DABBA KATO is beating up Axiom. Collision. Down goes Axiom in the corner. Could Scripps go out, maybe? Yeah, here's Scripps. Scripps without the stupid mask. Reggie. Is Scripps dead? Have we killed Scripps? They haven't referred to him as Scripps. Reggie. Hug it out, they're chanting. They're chanting hug it out. Right, well, Reggie came to the assistance of Axiom. They didn't refer to him as Scripps, but they didn't refer to him as Reggie either. They were just like, look who it is. Well, who is it? Who is it these days? Look who it is. Who? Right, we're seeing Tony. Scripsy. Scripsy, that's who it is. It's part Scripps, part Reggie. It's Scripps' younger brother, Reggie. We're seeing Tony being interrogated. It's hard to see. Tony's... There's no way that's me, says Tony. Don't even know what he's being accused of. I don't know who he's accused of attacking. We've got some new information. It's not looking good. Tony being interrogated. Oh. This Friday. This Friday's a tape show, innit? There are spoilers out there. But again, I've still managed to avoid them. So, yeah, we are doing... obviously, we're doing the watch-along. And... Sheamus. Theory. US title match. Let's go. What happened to Scripps? I guess it didn't work out. It wasn't working, was it? It was god-awful. It was awful. All joking aside, it was flipping awful. And it was awful from the start. I don't think there was any salvage in that. So, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to just go by the name of Reggie now. This is about when him and Stacks threw Pretty Deadly into the lake, said WWE AEW fan. Yeah, it'd be weird, though, if it was about that, because they've moved on. So, like, this is, I mean, you'd think this is built into a feud, a match. But it can't be built into a match with Pretty Deadly, because they've gone. Unless we're going to bring them back again. for like a one-off thing, but that would be a bit strange considering they only just left. So that's why it's like I can't quite work out who they're meant to be. Like, where's this going? What are we doing here? What are we doing, eh? Big Time said NXT averages 183 in the demo. Think about how many young fans that haven't been exposed to that wrestler. I want to see a reality show with Corey and Carmella with Reggie as their personal nanny. Well, he was Carmella's sommelier, wasn't he? That's how they first brought him in, as the sommelier. So, and they did do a Carmella and Corey reality show. So I feel like we've been close to that. Had we have done the reality show at the time that he was playing the part of being Carmella's sommelier, then you could have had something along those lines. But time-wise, I don't think it quite managed to work out that way, unfortunately. I know WWE shows aren't perfect, but when podcasters complain every week that the shows are dreadful, I don't know why they continue to waste their time. Cried for Triple to take over. I think I said before, though, there's a very good reason as to why that happens. It's because if you say Raw was okay, you will get no engagement. You will get no views. Things have to be horrific. They have to be amazing, mind-blowing, the best thing I've ever seen. That is the best WWE pay-per-view I have ever seen. That is the best Backlash I have ever seen. That is the best match I have ever seen. That is the best celebrity performance I have ever seen. That is the best debut match. It's got to be the best. It's got to be the best, or it's got to be the worst. If it's grey, it ain't going to do nothing on social media. You ain't going to get views. Raw was all right. Raw was okay. Here's why. Oh, let me click on that. That sounds like a banger. Banging video. That sounds like a banging time. So once I've given you the gift of that information now as a YouTuber, it's up to you now to decide what you want to watch and what you want to listen to, knowing that you are going to be hearing exaggerations of opinions. I mean, to be honest, this is where we're very fortunate because we can just watch the shows as they happen live. I don't have to tell you that this is the greatest thing in the world. I don't have to tell you this is the worst thing in the world because we just react to it live as it's happening. If you're here anyway, you're here anyway, you know? So we're kind of fortunate in that sense. But I can understand that if you want to do a like a post-show review, then everything's got to be either horrific or it's got to be the greatest thing ever. Triple H just dropped the ball. Triple H just made the biggest mistake of his career. Click and find out why. And then it will turn out to be that he didn't put LA Knight on the WrestleMania card, which about a few weeks later we've all moved on from. We are back from commercial break. Roman Cody was one of the best matches this year, said Bryson. Who do you think is going to win at Battleground between Braun and Carmelo? And when are you streaming UFC next? I don't know when UFC's. I have not looked, to be honest. I just take it a week by week basis. So I don't know the answer to that one. In regards to who do I think is going to win out of Braun and Carmelo? I think it'll be Carmelo, only because Braun has had his run with the belt. And I do like this heel version of him, but I don't think this heel version of him needs the title. If you've got the belt, you're at the top of the cards. You are the man that you've got the weight of the promotion on your shoulders. And he's had that. It's time for Carmelo to feel that burden now. It'll do Carmelo good to have the weight of that on his shoulders for a little bit. So I don't think Braun needs that back. So I think that this will be a good match. It could be that Bron gets a win, but it's a win by DQ, win by count out, something along those lines. It could be that Carmelo gets the win, but gets the win by DQ. Could see that happening. A frustrated Bron gets a weapon or something, uses a chair, ends up getting DQ'd. I could see that happening. We've got a video package right now about Bron and Carmelo. Heel Bron, so much better. So much better. I mean, it's night and day. Carmelo, Hayes, Bron, Breaker. NXT Championship main events. Battlegrounds. Gallus? Got Gallus, boys. Who are they taking on? Well, we'll find out soon. I don't remember seeing them advertised for a match. And actually, I'm seeing that they're not in ring gear. So I think this is going to be a promo. So Gallus are in the ring right now. Let's see what Gallus have got to say. Well, they were called out, weren't they, last week by the Creeds? Sunday's Battleground looks stacked. Why is the light all green? Why are they cutting a promo in the green light? What's this? They've been inspired by The Fiend. What the flip's this? Who thought this was a good idea? What? This is weird, isn't it? So they're asking about the creeds of the Creed. Didn't the Creed say they were going to call? They could literally called you out last week. I mean, was the light broken or something? I can't imagine someone looked at that and went, "Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, that's good. We'll definitely do that." Here's the Creeds. The Creeds have come out. The green light's gone. Are you going to answer? Ring, ring, ring. Are you going to answer? So the Creeds have come out. They've said they want a shot at those titles. We're an entirely different animal, says Gallus. We've had more fights than you two have had hot dinners. It's the Creed's time. It's a bad segment, man. It's a bad segment. I'm sorry. It's just two teams going, we're going to beat you. Oh, you think you can beat us? Yeah, we think we can beat you. Oh, we'll prove it then. Well, if you want to throw hands, we can throw hands. And now they're throwing hands. And this came after like that weird green light bit. There's nothing interesting in this promo whatsoever. There's nothing... I like the Creeds. I'm really not sure. I'm not sold on Gallus. Never been sure on Gallus. I think they can do some stuff in the ring, Gallus. But promo-wise, the bar stuff's all right when they're in the pub having a beer. It's okay. There's not really much to it. But man, that was painful. That was painful. Think we can beat you? Oh, we'll beat us then. Okay. Done. Segment done. We're moving on. We got Wesley. The accents are downright... The accents are downright atrocious. Here's Tyler Bate. Don't be like that, Wes. I've nothing but respect for him. Different kettle of fish. Tonight, I've got Eddie Thorpe to worry about. So, Wesley doesn't want anything to do with Tyler Bate. So, Wesley still upset with Tyler Bate. Here's Eddie Thorpe then. Eddie Thorpe making his way down. He'll be taking on Tyler Bate, that match coming up next. We're still only 35 minutes into the show, you know. Right. That pic for the vid of my wife's face. She was 24. Very pretty. Huh? Hey, Badass, shout out to you. Retribution said, I should probably be asleep right now as I need to be in work from 9 a.m., but I am a rebel. Yeah, you don't want to get into any bad habits. Want to get yourself into a good schedule, buds. A bidet is a specialized bathroom fixture for washing your undercarriage. That is true. I've never used a bidet. That's definitely something I'd like to do before I pass away, you know. It's on the bucket list. Use a bidet. I want to know how it feels. What's it feel like? Little water. Cleaning your bum. It's a French thing, isn't it? Isn't it like, I've always thought it to be something that's like in every home in France. I've very, very rarely ever been to anyone's house where they've got a bidet. Probably only ever seen like 2 in my life. It's just not really a thing. Maybe they're in new homes, I don't know. We've never had a house that's had one. I love you days more than my schedule. Did you see Dakota tore her ACL, says Max. So many women in WWE are having that same injury recently. Yeah, I think she's out for the year, isn't she? James said a bidet gets right up the jacksie. Never used one either. Oh, well, put it on the bucket list, James. Sounds like a fun night out, doesn't it? I'll give you, once I find one, I'll give you a call. We could go together. They might have like 2 in a row and we could like talk about like how the experience is going whilst we're experiencing it. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be nice. I'd be like, how are you finding it, James? And you'd be like, well, do you know what? It's not, I wouldn't say it was unpleasant. And I'd be like, yeah, it's all right. Do you want to try mine and I'll have a look at yours? Like that. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? What you could do is James, you could show me your bum, right, before you use it, and then show me after, and I'll be able to tell you then how much of a difference it's made. How about that? How about that? That's a service that I am willing to provide. Listen, You get yourself down to Wrestling Shop Live, and you've got my word that that is an experience that I'm willing to partake in. You show me your bum bum, all right, and then we'll go and find a B-day. We can use it, and then I'll tell you as to how clean it is afterwards. Done. If Brock beats Cody at Night of Champions, brackets, probably, what stipulation do you think the rubber match at Money in the Bank? I mean, I feel like they need to be in a Hell in a Cell or something along those lines. Fight Pit would be good. I don't think... I mean, we've only had one Fight Pit match, and I don't think it was very good. I didn't really enjoy it that much. But in NXT, there's been some fun Fight Pit matches. So I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to just abandon them now because the first one wasn't that great. Or if we're going to try and... I feel like, you know how Shawn Michaels and Undertaker and maybe Undertaker Mankind defined the Hell in the Cell. I feel like someone could define the Fight Pit. And I think actually seeing Brock in that kind of environment again inside some sort of a cage would be quite exciting, actually. So I think for me, it'd have to be a Hell in a Cell. It'd have to be a cage match, or it'd have to be... I think what would excite me more would be the Fight Pit, because they could provide the iconic benchmark, you know, just like how Razor and Shawn was the iconic ladder match. Just like how... I don't know which you would say. I don't know if I feel like the iconic Hell in a Cell is probably Undertaker Mankind, but equally not really for wrestling reasons. I feel like the Undertaker Shawn one is better, obviously, as a wrestling match, but as a spectacle, Undertaker Mankind is clearly the go-to for Hell in a Cell. As I said, I feel like someone needs to define the Fight Pit. Bell has sounded, and we are underway. So this is Eddie Thorpe taking on Tyler Bate. I've used a B-day a few times whilst being abroad. However, we always wash our backsides with a jug, if we have it, or a spray gun that's connected to the mains. What do you mean? Like a super soaker? What do you mean? Like your family all squirt each other with water pistols in the bum bum? James, do you want to do that? It's a new service I provide. I will spray you in the bum bum with a super soaker. But like a real big one with like 20 tanks. Like that. With a fireman's hose. Listen, whatever you get up to in your own time, Retribution, shout out to you, shout out to your family. It sounds like you have incredible life experiences. A pressure washer, says Outlaw Angel. Yes! A pressure washer that you clean cars with. Listen, if it can clean a car, it can clean a bum bum. That's been my motto since I was 5, to be honest. Since I was a very young wee child. That's our family motto, actually. It's on our family crest. If it can clean a car, it can clean a bum bum. And I feel that way about a chamois leather as well. And a vacuum cleaner. Days at home, but we don't have a spray gun at home. We just use a jug of water instead. Oh. Imagine someone tuning into the stream for the first time, says AB Jobson. Well, to be honest, this is how you get people like William Hensey. This is how it happens. So, you know, you get people like that are really looking for the darker side of the web. Then they stumble across a conversation like this and they're like, I think I found my community. And then they just happen to get into wrestling as a result, and then they stick around. So, yeah, I mean, this is, you know, these are conversations that you do need to be very careful of having sometimes. Otherwise, we'd just have a whole community of William Henses. Do you know what I mean? It'll be a tentpole in event, said Wrestling. You love that. I love that as well. I love that as well. They just did Hell in a Cell at Mania. I bet it's something simple like Last Man Standing. Don't see them pulling off a fight pit, says Ryan. The second Collision show is June 24th, and it's got 599 tickets sold in a 15,000 arena. That's interesting. Where are they for the second Collision show? They are announcing, aren't they, tomorrow where they're going to be for Collision. I do think that's going to be a big reveal. I do think that that's a big reason to tune in tomorrow, actually. Because if it is Chicago, they are basically saying CM Punk's coming back. You ain't going to book Chicago and do Chicago if you ain't got CM Punk. Could you imagine the reaction if you do the whole of Collision and Punk's not there at the end? The show just ends. Tyler Bate off the ropes clothesline as Eddie Thorpe gets turned inside out. James said, if you're not willing to have a laugh and take the pee out yourself, what's the point? Absolutely. 1, 2, 3. Tyler Bate with the win. Tyler Bate with the win. So that's not a bad little win, that. But then saying that, I shouldn't be too surprised. He is in a triple threat this weekend for a title, so. But I don't know. Eddie Thorpe's an interesting one. I feel like he's someone that's really going to get somewhere. Oh, here's Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy attacking. Wesley jumps off commentary. Oh! Wesley accidentally strikes Tyler. See ya? Well, that's not good news, is it? There's Ava as well. Ava at ringside. I really like her with him. I really like those two together. I think I want them to be lovers. Right, we're backstage with Lyra. I don't feel any tears, says Lyra. I will be fine. I'll be ready. She wants Roxanne. In my eyes, she's the best, and I want to take on her for the championship. Right, here's Noam Dar with his Heritage Cup. He's taking on Nathan Frazer next. So Lyra says she'll be all right. She said she hasn't felt anything, any tears. The toilet flapper is the component inside your toilet tank that lets water flow out of the tank and into the bowl when you flush. Very rarely, if ever, do I ever take the top off the tank off the back of the toilet. I used to. It's funny you should mention that, actually, because that reminds me that when I was young, our toilet was broken. For the longest time, we used to have to take the top off to pull the thing up because the handle wasn't working via the handle. So quite often we had to take the top off to pull the thing up because the flush didn't work. Completely forgot about that. Completely forgot. That's Starbridge for you. That's Starbridge for you. We don't have working toilets there. No, it was broke. I don't know why we never got that fixed. It's probably because we weren't the right side of being wealthy. So it might have been that maybe that was just a bit of a bridge too far to get that fixed at the time. I swear that was broken for like months and months and months and months and months. That wasn't like just a week. It was like 20 years of my life. Yeah. What the hell are they doing with Tyler Bate? We need big, strong boy, not this meditating version. Beep, said James. Zach's wasting time said, I feel like the tone of the stream was set in the wet before this with that phallic breakfast sausage. I mean, it did look like a sex toy. And I couldn't stop thinking about it as well. As we were like constantly showing like pictures of it. I mean, like, is it just me that finds it a little bit strange that this girl has sent in Tommy a picture of her breakfast and she has purposefully, I'm going to say purposefully, made her sausage look like a sex toy? I can't be alone in thinking this is strange. If she was to come back on the web, it would be my first question. I'd be like, love to see you eat. Thanks for coming back on. Question number 1. Why did you send us a picture of your breakfast and you made a sausage look like a sex toy? Please respond. That would be my first question. But you're right. It probably did go start there and just go downhill gradually. I enjoyed this week's web, actually. There was so much to talk about. Obviously, we had like predictions to go through for... Oh, it's a bit of a shame. I didn't know if Tommy wanted to do AEW predictions, NXT predictions. But he wasn't. To be honest, as soon as I jumped on, the first thing he said was, he said, I know you was tired last week. He said, I'm feeling it this week. So I knew that he wasn't quite at the races or not feeling like, the too fresh. I think he's had a pretty full-on day today. He's been at work and don't think it's been an easy one for him. So I know he wasn't feeling brilliant. So, yeah, we ended up just doing Night of Champions predictions. But, yeah, it was all right. Some interesting conversations. Right, we are still at commercial break. Where are we? We're 50 minutes in. We got 10 minutes to go. Then we'll be at halftime scores. Come on! Halftime scores coming up. I forgot about the web tonight, says Retribution. Well, that's a disgrace. Well, that's a disgrace, isn't it? Shame on you, Retribution. Now, I've said before, the great thing about the web is, I think Tommy more so than me does try to get into the chat and see what people are saying. I think because I do these streams, like, it's actually a nice change for me to just sit back and just, have a conversation, go with the flow. But as a result, that means if you do miss it, you can always go back and watch it, and I think it'll largely be the same experience. Noam Dar is made his way down to the ring. Coach Co said the taste of urine varies from watery to slightly bitter, sour, and even sugary. Oh my God. Sugary? Normal urine is usually salty and somehow bitter. Sugary? Imagine that, sugary urine. If you had a partner that just constantly produced sugary urine, save a hell of a lot of money on milk, wouldn't it? To be honest. Save a lot of money on sugar, a lot of money on milk. Pop that in your tea every morning. You know what I mean? As long as it is properly sugary. I mean, there's a cost of living crisis. You got to find a way of cutting corners, haven't you? If you can save a little bit on milk and sugar, then who knows? You might be able to, have an extra date night or something. Everyone benefits. Daze, what do you think about Collision? How do you think it'll go? And WWE style, said Bryson. I think I don't think it's going to go very well. I really don't. I just think Saturday is just it's a busy day. I think you can do. I think if we look at Battle of the Belts as an example, the ratings for that were awful, and that was on a Saturday. And that was like, you know, they were trying to build that and put on some big matches, but I mean, I think the first Battle of the Belts did pretty well because it was it was an exception type thing. But then I think the next one got less views, the next one got less views, so on, so on, so on. So, I mean, I think the first Collision's going to do well, of course, as you would imagine. Everyone will tune in. How does the show feel? Does it feel different to Dynamite? What's the stage like? What's the color scheme? What's the roster? How are they being booked? Blah, 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 right? So there's so many questions, so much intrigue that I can see that first one doing a decent number. But, I mean, it's going to fade, innit? It's going to be the same as every other show in the history of shows, where you start off hot and then it'll slowly start to dip, and then you'll find your kind of where you rest at. So they could do, I don't know, 1 million. I don't know that they will. They probably won't, but say they do 1 million. And then eventually settle down to the 600,000 range, maybe something like that. I mean, I don't think it will settle down to 800,000. What I have said though is, I don't know what the program in that time slot is doing now. So I think wrestling fans are going to have decided. They're going to have decided that it's got to do 1 million. That's what they're, you know, I have no doubt that like AEW botches and all these people will have decided already it's got to do 1 million, otherwise it's failed, right? But the truth of the matter is it might not need to do 1 million because whatever's in that time slot now might only be doing 500,000. Whatever's in that time slot now might be doing 500,000, so anything above that is going to be seen as a success. So we don't know quite what they're aiming for or what they're projecting. We don't know what would warrant success or not. Noam Dar is just been drop kicked to the outside by Nathan Frazer. Noam Dar's gone over to the Heritage Cup to grab a hold of it. So yeah, I think it's going to be a challenge. I don't think it's going to do Dynamite numbers. Whether it can settle into a place that's acceptable, that's seen as, you know, a success, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. As someone that, I mean, I'm not going to be able to watch it, so I've got concerns with AEW. My concern is that I know it's a different roster on Collision compared to Dynamite, but this is just another show that we're not going to be able to watch. It's just another show that's just not going to be part of our viewing, which I don't know. I mean, at this point, we're going to be doing Dynamite, which is one of their 2 big shows. But, you know, we don't do Rampage. We're not going to do Collision. We don't watch Being the Elite. We never did Dark Elevation. I mean, we could have done those shows, but in all fairness, Dark and Elevation, you know, there's not many people that are tuning into those. You know, if I was to do a watch long for those, like, it just wouldn't be worth it, to be honest. It wouldn't be worth it. Being the Elite, clearly, it's not, you know, no one's going to do a watch long for that. And then Collision's just I mean, if Collision was on a Thursday night, we'd be doing it. Simple as that. If Collision was on a Thursday, we'd be doing it. But it's on a Saturday. We just can't. So, and I don't think I'm alone in that. I really don't think I'm alone. So this is where it's like, what is the projection? What do they deem as a success? What is it that they're aiming for? What do they think they can get? I have an idea. There must be, like, you know, they've done Battle of the Belts, so they've got that data. They know what is being, like, the ratings are in that time slot right now. They know what they're doing compared to other shows on a Wednesday. They know what they're doing to other shows for Rampage. I mean, to be honest, if every time you've done a show, you are either first or second on cable, right? That would suggest that there's a good chance you're going to be first or second on cable on Saturday night as well, right? If on a Friday night, Rampage is like first or second on cable for ratings. On a Wednesday night, Dynamite is first or second on cable for ratings. If Battle of the Belts was first or second on cable for the ratings, that would probably give you enough confidence to go, well, look, if we do a show on a Saturday, chances are, we're probably going to be first or second, because every other show we've done, we've been first or second. So then all of a sudden you can look at the other shows and then project that you're going to be around whatever the first or the second is doing. So that would be maybe your starting point. And then obviously you can look to see what the show in that time slot is doing. That will be another indicator as well. And so all of a sudden you're starting to get a bit of an idea as to what you think you should be doing, where you think you should be. And I don't know what that number is. I don't know what that number is. I don't think anyone knows what that number is. But it will be very interesting. Everyone is going to be waiting to find out what that collision number is. But I think whatever that first number is, it's going down from there. It ain't going to obviously go up. You know, this is going to be their big opening number, and then it will settle at a lower level. John Baby, how are you, mate? Adam Cole is still the GOAT of NXT. That's undisputed. Adam Cole, baby. Is he going to be the GOAT of AEW, though? That's the bigger question. Is he going to be the GOAT of AEW? It's all well and good doing it in the minor leagues, isn't it, eh? It's all well and good being the best at high school. But can you do it? Can you do it in the big time? Can you do it on the big stage? Or are you just Britt Baker's less talented half? Not saying he is. I'm just saying he runs the risk of being the other less talented half of Britt Baker, rather than Adam Cole, baby. Michael Cole is better than Adam Cole. He should be, says Louise. A.B. Jobson said Saturday isn't a good night for wrestling. Deadman Talking said most weeks on Saturday, TNT isn't in the top 150 shows, which 150 averages 0.04 and 150K. Really? Is that on cable? This is where I'm not the right person to talk to, because I'm not in America, so I don't really know like how the networks work and all that kind of stuff. What I do know though is on cable they do tend to consistently be like right up there. They quite often I don't think it's them. I don't know who posts it actually, but quite often I've seen those lists on Twitter where you can see the top like 100 shows on cable, and AEW is normally like first or second. Whoa. Nathan Frazer, very impressive. Nathan Frazer is all over Noam Dar. That's lovely. Daze, appreciate the streams. I've been here for the whole thing. Evo, shout out to you. You should love Adam Cole as much, says John Baby. At least Michael Cole actually had a Mania moment. Ooh. Shot coming in there by Nathan Frazer. Kick coming in by Noam Dar. Back elbow there by Nathan Frazer. Nathan Frazer, springboard. Oh, nice double axel. He's all over Noam Dar at the moment. Where are we? We are past halfway point, so we will be doing halftime scores. Pinned by Nathan Frazer. Nathan Frazer trying to show that he belongs in the conversation. Crowd applauding away as Nathan Frazer's getting up to his feet, climbing up top. He's in position. Oh, tries to land on Noam Dar. Goes for a clothesline. Looks for a kick. Down goes Nathan Frazer. Noam Dar grabbing a hold of the leg. Noam Dar goes into the corner. Nice Inzaguri by Nathan Frazer. Noam Dar wobbling around. Flips over, lands on his feet. Nice switch kick. Looking for a German. No. Plants him down, but grabs the arm. That was nice. Had him look like he was going for the German, but instead he sort of... I need to look at a replay of that, actually. I want to look at the replay. How did he get him from there? Need to look at the replay. Nathan. Look underneath. Nice kick by Nathan Frazer. Noam Dar is out. Shoulder up, though. I'm just having a look at the replay. He had him... That's interesting. That's really interesting. He had him there, and then he picks him up. Oh, God, I'd have to watch that again. I tell you, we're seeing some interesting stuff here. Yeah, we're seeing it's not a bad little... again, I feel like these two are really battling away here. Look, they're head-to-head in the middle of the ring. AWC Legend said, will you do a watch-along for AEW on Saturdays? No. We've said from the start we won't. There's no way that we can because of, I mean, once a month, WWE do a pay-per-view on a Saturday. Once a month, UFC do a pay-per-view on a Saturday. I don't think once a month, but maybe 12 times a year. Once a month, there's a big boxing event. You got Misfits as well. They run on Saturdays. So, yeah, actually, once a month at least, there's going to be a big boxing event. And then, you know, any spare time you got UFC as well, their normal weekly fight night shows. So, the Saturday is like the worst day going up against anything. So, no, at no point was we even remotely close to doing watch-alongs for Collision. Soon as I heard it was Saturday, it was... nope. Done, mate. Done. Simple. Frazer lands on Noam Dar after Dragon Lee had come out. Dragon Lee was distracting. Dragon Lee had come down. Noam Dar was distracted because Dragon Lee had gone over to the Heritage Cup. He had his arms all over it. Nathan Frazer was not happy about that. He ends up getting caught. So it's Nathan Frazer with the win, but thanks to outside interference by Dragon Lee. Yeah, that match had some all right moments. Dragon Lee distracts. Right, I don't know when we're going to halftime scores, but we need to do, or when we're going to commercial break, but we need to do halftime scores. Nathan Frazer's got the Heritage Cup in his hands. Dragon Lee has got the Heritage Cup in his hands. Dar's telling them both to put it down. We are backstage with Dragunov. As soon as we get to the next commercial break, we will do halftime scores. I'm making Dijak feel the pain that awaits him on Sunday. Dijak walks into the dressing room, the locker room. And they're having to keep the two apart. So, big brawl at the moment. So, brawl in the locker room. Special look coming up next at Carmelo Hayes' homecoming. That's after the break. Yeah, it probably is now. Halftime scores coming up then. Halftime scores coming up. Boom. Right, Coach Coat said, I just purchased tickets to see Ice Cube live in concert. Is that true? Because that's really cool if true. Right, here we go.
Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this.
Boom. 8 said Justin. So we got one score at the moment. 7.1 said WWE AEW fan. The Beach Kevin with 7.7. Draco R Soul with 7. James Hayes with a 4. Hated Badass says 7 out of 2. Marty said 5.5. Mr. Wrestling Fan 24 says 8.5. Mitchell, hello buds, said 7. What about you? Yeah, but, maybe. Oh, it's tricky. Maybe about 7.25. I'm around that. Yeah. I mean, I really like that first match. I just wish it was longer. I think the Gallus Creed Brothers thing was awful. I really thought that segment was bad. Last match I thought was okay. I thought it had some moments. I didn't think it was mind-blowing, but I thought there was some nice moments in there. Definitely a few bits I would go back and watch. So yeah, like 7.25 personally. An okay show so far, said AB Jobson. I'm giving it an 8. Jeff says 6. Stephen said 7. Megan says 7. Bryson says 8. Aubrey Edwards, hashtag 1000 days Roman, 6. Terry with a 7. Alexa Bliss Gamer 0809 with a 7. Maine with a 6. James said 7.5 B-days out of 10. Hagen Daz says 6. John said 7.23 so far, so good out of 10. Princess Lady with a 7. Richard with a 5. Travis with a 7. Stephen with a 7. Dave says, NXT ever had a 3 stages of hell match? Not that I can remember, no. We did go through periods of not watching when like NXT 2.0 came along. I was just really struggling with it. I just wasn't enjoying it. And as I said at the time, I was like, I don't want to tune into this and just be critical week after week after week. So let's give it a break and come back when, like, you know, things have settled down. And to be honest, they did. And we came back. I remember coming back for, I think it was called Heat Wave, and enjoying the show. And then we've stuck around ever since. And I think it's in an all right place. It's not black and golds. And that has been something I've struggled with. I mean, I just thought black and golds is so special. It really is. It was, they just absolutely killed it. They hit the mark. They hit the bullseye for me. It was easily the best wrestling show of the week. It had storylines. It had interesting characters. It had characters that you could get excited. I mean, in a way, it felt like you was watching the main roster before they became the main roster. Like here, you can definitely see people like Braun, Carmelo, Roxanne, Cora, Tiffany. Like you can Creeds. You can definitely see some people that are going to go on to the main roster and have success. But I would make the argument that it was like that, but even more so during Black and Gold, because you're talking about people like Asuka. You're talking about people like Becky and Charlotte and Sasha and Bayley. You're talking about Kevin Owens. You know, you're talking about Finn Balor. You're talking about like some big names. that you knew were going to go on to be big names as well, and you're getting to watch them in NXT. I mean, it was such a special time. So, but yeah, I feel like this is. I feel like we're getting closer to that time, which is good. And as we said, I think there's plenty of people to be excited about. Carmelo being one. Bron, I think heel Bron's great. Love heel Bron. And obviously we just lost a load. I mean, Grayson, I really enjoyed Grayson. Zoe, I think she's very good. Caden and Katana, we haven't seen them, have we, actually? We haven't seen Caden and Katana yet, thinking about it. They got called up. We haven't done anything with them two. We saw Isla and Elba the other day. Have we seen Odyssey Jones as well? I don't think we've seen Odyssey Jones. That's cool. Where's that? Kowloon. Carmelo just went to this place called Kowloon, and apparently loads of wrestlers have been there, and they've got like signed pictures on the wall. Carmelo went and signed as well. Oh, is that in Boston? Oh my God, we could so get Tommy to go. So this is in Massachusetts. So it's a Carmelo homecoming. So it's going to be a big deal on Sunday for him. But Odyssey Jones was called up to Raw, said Austin. Black and Gold didn't have XY Zion Quinn. So 2.0 is better, says Austin. NXT's best show this year is still Vengeance Day. That show was good, says Aubrey Edwards. Hashtag 1000 Days Roman. Right, well, there we go. We just had a little look at... Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. Hank and Tank. I think, are they still facing each other? Yeah. So these two are going to face each other because Tank wants to form a really close bond with Hank. And he said one way that we can do that is by going up against each other. And, forging a closer bond in battle type situation. So that's exactly what we've got here. Gonna form now I've not been very impressed with Hank at all. I don't know why he's not changed his look. 'Cause his look is just so generic. His ring gear just looks so... I mean, it's just a black singlet with Walker written on the front. I mean, it's so bland. I don't mind a bit of bland, actually. I think... but I feel like you need a little something on it, Like Bam Bam Bigelow was just a black singlet, but with flames on it. Macho Man was just, orange trunks with a few stars on it. But I feel like you need something, just something eye-catching, iconic. If you're going to have a black singlet, have something somewhere that makes it stand out. And I don't think the word Walker in letters across the front is quite that, to be honest. I don't mind Tank's gear. Tank's is pretty fun. That kind of hazard tape, yellow and black, caution written on the side. These two really going at it as Hank tries to pick up Tank. Tank grabs Hank Walker, hurls him into the corner. And again, Hank. Tank picks up Hank. Hank goes down. It's going to be a nightmare, and it's called this with Hank and Tank. Headbutt there by Tank on Hank. Tank going for a pin on Hank as Hank kicks out. Duke the Dumpster Drozy and Snitsky made their MLW debuts the other week in a Battle Riot. Really? Really? It's a bit weird, isn't it? Duke the Dumpster Drozy. Let's go. I'll tell you what, let's just sign up anyone that's still alive from the new generation. Let's get Adam Bomb in there. Let's get Bastion Booger, Adam Bomb, Smoking Guns. I'll tune into that show. Oh my God. Imagine that. Imagine if there was a show that just went out and got all the old names from like the mid-90s. From like WCW and WWF. Maybe sprinkling a little ECW in there as well if you want. Let's go. Wow. Hank just beat Tank. Hank beat Tank? I wasn't expecting that. I don't think he was expecting that. Hank gets his hand raised. Is that Bron? Bron's just come into the ring. So there was a collision during the match. They both went against the ropes. Hank turns over and pins Tank, gets the pin. Bron Breaker's just jumped into the ring. He's destroyed what's left of Hank and Tank. You suck, Chance. I'll see you Sunday, champ. So, sending a message there, Bron. Bit weird. Just randomly attacking Hank and Tank. We're backstage with Creeds and Ivy. Here's Stacks. Okay, so we've got Creed Brothers backstage with Ivy. They're in the kitchen area. We've been burnt trusting people before. Okay, well, that was kind of interesting. Stacks offered his help, but the Creeds didn't want it. They said they've been burnt before. Mitchell said, have you got a tag team that highlights nostalgia when you watched when you were younger? Mine would be Rene Dupree and Kenzo Suzuki. What do you mean by that? What do you mean? Like an old tag team that when you watch it brings back like nostalgia feel. And that's pretty much every tag team from the past, isn't it, really? I suppose, I mean, if I've got the question right, then I think the first name that came to my mind was the Bushwhackers, because I don't think that there's many examples of teams that have been able to do what they've done, plus also a lot of what they've done you wouldn't get away with now, right? Nor should you even try. But, you know, going up to random people in the crowd, licking their faces, for example. But I think that kind of, that genuine, innocent, good fun, just there for a good time, the whole crowd just joining in with, you know, the Bushwhacker walk, and everyone just having fun. That's it. There's nothing deeper to it. It's just having a good, fun time, you know? let's just have fun. It doesn't matter if they could botch every move as long as everyone's safe. It doesn't matter. It's just let's just have a good time. Are the matches going to be bangers? No. Are they even at times going to be a little bit offensive with how silly they are? Maybe. But it's just everyone just sort of agreed. We're just going to have fun. We're just going to have a good time with these guys. As soon as you heard that music, you were just like, oh man, the Bushwhackers. And you can talk about the New Day, you can talk about Breezango and all that kind of stuff. And who knows? I mean, listen, if Twitter had been around when the Bushwhackers were around, maybe there would have been negative comments. Maybe there would be people going, oh, I can't stand these guys. Or, oh, God, jobbers. Or, you might get that. Watching it at home on your own when you didn't have the internet, it just never felt... It just never felt like anyone felt that way. Never felt like anyone was saying that. Like, the crowds always popped. Crowds, they would always cut to people in the crowd. Everyone seemed to be doing the walk, and I don't know. I think that probably feels nostalgic, especially because you look at what they were doing, and you're like, you couldn't do that now. Couldn't do that now. You could do the walk, but you couldn't go. You couldn't go up to kids in the crowd going. Why? Do you remember, was it Jameson as well that was with them for a time? Jameson, who seemed to have like some mental health issues. And he was like chewing on his tie. And being like a bit strange at times. Again, I just don't think you could portray that character that way now. I mean, in all fairness, I don't think anyone really enjoyed Jameson. But... I'd go Bushwhackers. You miss Coach Co's donation, says Song Lyrics. It's what I do, but it's what I do, mate. Missing kind donations. It's just all part of the experience, to be honest. I think if you are kind enough to send in a super chat, I think it's like Russian roulette. Hit and miss as to whether I'm going to get to them or not. But I appreciate you letting me know, Song Lyrics. Coach Co said Cypress Hill and Ice Cube and Millies and Twister in Boston, July 29th at the TD Garden. Coach Co, have a great time. Sounds like a fun lineup. Sounds like a really fun lineup, actually. I mean, Cypress Hill, I'd love to go and see Cypress Hill. Don't know Millies, to be honest. Ice Cube would be cool. Twister, I remember him having like one album that blew up. But yes, go and see Cypress Hill. That'd be really cool. Right, we've got Gigi in the ring. I don't know what a stable family felt like, but when I came here, I thought I'd found one. Gigi said I would have done anything for her. But now I'll do anything to end her. Here's JC. That's about as much of this emo talk that I can take. We used to sit up here in our lounge looking down on everyone. If everything was so great, why throw it all away? I got sick and tired of carrying you through every match we had, says JC. I refuse to let you drag me down. The feud between these two has been good, actually. do think, though, I mean, I didn't even know this segment was happening. I do think they could have done a better job of, like, advertising that we were going to get this. But when they've, like, you know, brawled, it's been pretty brutal. The turn was brutal. Last time we were in that ring, I beat you, and then I embarrassed you in front of your brother. You might have won the match, but you had to get 8 stitches to fix your face. How about we settle this right here, right now, said Gigi. Oh, God, she's fiery, but then you know what gingers are like. Do what you do best. If there's one thing I can't wait for, is to be done with you once and for all. What's she want? Steel cage. Steel cage match. I'm real, says Gigi. Unlike you. JC Jane is a fake ass. Gigi's enjoying this promo, isn't she? Okay, yeah. It's going to be a weaponized cage match. So she said, let's take it up a notch. We'll make it a weaponized cage match. I like the fake ass. Oh, yeah, this guy, I can't remember this guy's name. I promise you, Von Wagner. When you're in the ring with Luther Crucifino, you'll wish you were. I don't know what he said. I wish I'd never seen that bad promo he cut, to be honest. Did an AEW just do a cage match with weapons? I don't know. Did it have? Well, it did. They did introduce weapons, yes, but I think it was just a cage match. But yeah, they did go out and get weapons. Didn't Gigi hit someone with a tampon in the Indies? She did. Leland said, Daze, I thought King and Queen of the Ring would take place in Jeddah. Was it rumored? Well, I think it was more than rumored. I think it may have been announced. I saw graphics for it and everything. But then it got changed. Was Night of Champions replaced by King and Queen of the Ring? Night of Champions replaced King and Queen, yes. Everyone was looking forward to it. I think people were looking forward to it, but I think people got quite excited for Night of Champions as well. Because Night of Champions suggests that all the championships are going to be on the line, when that's not the case, is it? So I think when Night of Champions got announced instead, people are like, okay, so who's Roman defending against? Yeah, I mean, right now we don't have Roman defending. The United States Championship's not on that cards. I think they might have just snuck on Rhea Ripley against Natalia. We were just talking about that on the web. It's not one that I've seen get announced, to be honest, but it's on the Wikipedia page now. So unless it was like just mentioned on Raw and it passed me by, but or it's got announced today. Maybe it got announced today. Don't know. But Rhea Ripley and Natalya being added to that cards. So yeah, at the moment, no Roman, no women's tag titles, but we know why. No, who else is missing? United States Championship. So that's not on there either. So yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty well received, the changing it for Night of Champions. And to be honest, I mean, the fact that we're gonna definitely have a new world champion crowned, that's guaranteed, pretty much, unless it's a draw and then we have to postpone it. But we probably won't do that. We're gonna get a new world champion crown. That makes it pretty exciting, doesn't it? That does make it pretty exciting. So I'm actually really looking forward to Night of Champions. I think I said yesterday I'm at like a 7.75 excitement level. I think I'm still about there. And by the time I get to it, I might be a little more excited. I love Night of Champions. Basically, none of the championships are changing, Hans said Mitchell. US Women's Tag Title and WWE Universal are not being defended, said Justin. Rhea called her out on Raw in a backstage segment, and the match was made official. Yeah, they've done a few back and forths between her and Natalya. It's the bit where it got made official that just passed me by. I didn't hear. The commentators might have announced it. I didn't see it. Come on. It's happening, and did predictions on it on the web. I mean, bottom line, Rhea's winning, isn't she? I can't see Natalya getting that belt off Rhea. All that matters about Night of Champions is that Roman makes it to 1,000 days. Aubrey Evans said, I hope everyone remembers Night of Champions is on Saturday and about 6 hours earlier than a normal pay-per-view. Yeah, it is early, isn't it? It is early. Which I don't mind, actually. I sort of kind of like getting up and then just getting into it, Sometimes you can get up and you can I've got a couple of hours. Right, I'll do this, I'll do that. 6 3-minute rounds with a 20-second break in between. Two out of 3 falls. Pinfall, submission, count out. DQ or knockout ends the match immediately. I mean, it is somewhat different, isn't it? The Heritage Cup. Noam Dar held the cup on 2 separate occasions. There's levels to this, and I'm at the top, says Noam Dar. So right now, we just got a video package. Obviously, we're building towards this match. Should be good. Right. NXT Anonymous. Noam Dar is trying to get someone to be in his corner. These rules are a bit confusing, but I think I've got it, says Mitchell. There's Lash. Don't know who that other girl is. Can't hear what they're saying, to be honest. Okay, we've got Crucifino. WWE Kara, shout out to you. I think he was trying to get Oro Mensa. Okay, here's Von Wagner. Von Wagner versus Crucifino. And Dar wants Mensa to be his second. We're just seeing last week a bit of a confrontation between Von Wagner and Crucifino. Daze, I saw the graphics for Rhea and Natalia yesterday. Godfather's host said Daze very blazed off that Alondra Blaze purple haze. Caught some sun rays on the beach. It's all the craze. Went to Hawaii and I got some lays. Eating Frito-Lays. Don't mind the nays in. Thank you. Thank you. Godfather's host, shout out to you. Is that what he's going to wrestle in? He's got like a vest. So he's wearing like a suit, but without the blazer part. And looks like he's going to compete in that. Von Wagner did get called up as well, didn't he, by the way? I mean, I'm not wrong, Amy. He is a free agent. Is he a free agent that's chosen to stay in NXT? Big boot there by Von. He is almost on a mission. Von charges over, collides in the corner. Crucifino with a shot to the back, kicks to the midsection. I'm sure he was announced as a free agent. I thought Von was called up, said Jeremy. Yeah, I think he was. I think he was announced as a free agent and seemingly has just decided to stay in NXT for a little bit. I don't understand. I don't understand why this guy that we've just not seen much of. I think he's been doing like NXT Level Up. Like, he's hip tossing Von Wagner. Like, he's actually being a little competitive. Back elbow by Von as Crucifino goes down. Again, Crucifino holding on to the rope. Over the top goes Von. I mean, unless Crucifino's going to get the win as Von's leaving NXT. Give me that picture. Crucifino wants the picture, the baby picture. Look at this freak. I don't understand. What's this? What's this? Crucifino's got a picture of a baby Von Wagner. And he's saying, look at this freak. I mean, imagine him at a nursery. What are you crying for, you freak? Oh, yeah, you're tired, are you? You want a nap, do you, you freak? Crucifino getting chucked around by Von. I don't even know what the official decision is. They rung the bell. For what? Count out? DQ? Crucifino being cringe? Cringeafino? Cringeafino? Von Wagner versus Cringeafino. I'm trying to help you, said Robert Stone, but Von Wagner goes after Cringeafino, plants him into the commentary table. Was Vic Joseph already sat there, or did he jump up onto the top of that barricade? Because if he jumped up, that's that might be a little clip that goes trending. We're back with Tony. But I'm watching Hearts versus Celtic. He'd call them freaks, then say, "Get a life, kids." I think he might have already been sat there, actually. They're telling him to get up. Tony being led out of this interrogation room. Right, here's Tiffany. This is going to be our main event. So things going from bad to worse here for Tony. Tiffany making her way down. Who's about to win this after the shock result earlier of Lyra VALKYRIA picking up the victory? Who is heading to Battleground? So things going from bad to worse for Tony. Now it's going to be Tiffany versus Roxanne PEREZ. Right. The next NXT Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton. Do you know what? Let's do a poll, shall we? Let's do a poll. Who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's going to win? Do you think it's going to be Tiffany? Or do you think it's going to be Roxanne? I don't know if I'm going to be watching NXT. I've not been feeling the last few episodes, said Trent. Well, I mean, I just remember this is a go home. I would say that I would say there's been a few moments here. I don't think the show's been a disaster. I think there's been a few moments that I've enjoyed. I do think that there's just been a little spell maybe here that's been a bit of a dip. I made my return to VF Dub in Lowell, Indiana this past Saturday for Backbreaker Wrestling. Carmen Live, shout out to you, buds. Austin said Tiffany is our next NXT Women's Champion. It's her time. Bryson said Tiffany's song is giving bossy, sassy, and champ material. A.B. Jobson said 100% Tiffany. Who's getting it? Tiffany or Roxanne? I don't know why I put scores. I think in my head, it's normally because at this point I'm doing full-time scores. So I've just put scores without even thinking. Who do you think wins? Tiffany or Roxanne? I love Roxy, but Tiffany is winning, says James. I want Tiffany because Roxanne is overhyped, says William. Tiffany is our next NXT Women's Champion. It's her time, said Austin. Way more fun than SmackDown. I never did get into that series. I'm a dork, said Intoxicated Beats. Calio said, what pay-per-view are you going to watch? NXT Battleground or Double or Nothing? We're doing Battleground, buds. I said before, we're doing Battleground because we only do Dynamite. We don't do Rampage. We haven't done Elevation. We haven't done Dark. We don't do all these other ones. I feel like what we do is we watch WWE and then we have a look at AEW. Like basically to keep an eye on like what they're up to, really, to make sure that we can stay part of the conversation. But like, if I have to choose between, are we going to do the WWE show or are we going to do the AEW show? We'll do the WWE show because we do NXT, we do Raw, we do SmackDown. And again, I mean, when it comes to like, am I going to do Collision or am I going to do the WWE pay-per-view? I mean, again, it's no brainer, is it? And that's going to collide every Saturday, every time they're on as well. So Yeah, it was pretty easy choice, to be honest. Although I would concede that I think that Double or Nothing will be the bigger show. I think more people will watch Double or Nothing than Battleground. It's just got more star power in it. I mean, NXT just doesn't... I mean, NXT doesn't get the numbers of AEW. And, you know, I think that there's going to be, I think, more matches, more star power. So yeah, I think that's definitely if I was interested in the views, I think I'd probably go with AEW. Next week is going to be the weaponized cage match. We've got the graphic for that. JC Jane, Gigi Dolan. Here's Roxanne PEREZ. 12 minutes left, but don't forget the overrun, guys. Come on, guys. You always forget the overrun. I'm always into Raw, and then ECW came. I was into that tons, said Intoxicated Beats. Keep getting your thoughts in then. Who do you think's going to win, Tiffany or Roxanne? Right, bell has sounded, and we've got Tiffany stepping up to Roxanne, giving her a little pat on the head. Tiffany's like, let's do a test of strength. She puts her hand high up in the air. Roxy jumps up, and we do get a test of strength. Tiffany's got Roxanne down, but she kips up. Round the back goes Roxanne, back elbows. Or elbows coming in by Tiffany. Tiffany flipped over. Roxy looking for a pin as Tiffany kicks out. Roxanne with a side headlock. Tiffany hurling Roxanne against the rope. Shoulder tackle. Kind of showed off the guns there and ended up getting caught a little bit, Tiffany. Cartwheel over by Roxanne. Round the houses. Nice. Good work there by Tiffany. She cartwheels out. Tiffany's doing a little bit too much showboating here. She's kind of like, you know, posing a lot, and it's allowing Roxanne to keep getting little advantages. She just seems to be that little step slower here than Roxanne. Roxanne just seems to be more into the zone, getting stuck in, and Tiffany's kind of doing a bit too much taunting. We're in the corner. Referee separating them. Back elbow there by Roxanne. Roxanne going up. Over the top. Roxanne flips over. Arm drag by Roxanne. Keep your votes coming in. We're at 87 votes. Let's try and get to 100. 13 away. So we'll try and get to 100 votes. And then we'll end the poll, see what people have said. Who do you think's winning? Have you got Roxanne? Have you got Tiffany? Tiffany in control at the moment. But I think this is going to go back and forth, innit? He's got the head of Tiffany spinning round. Tiffany to the outsides. Roxanne PEREZ regaining the momentum here as she goes against the rope. Suicide dive gets caught by Tiffany. Tiffany has got Roxanne. Roxanne manages to get out of that. Tiffany goes into the edge of the ring. PEREZ hurling Tiffany into the ring. Tiffany again going over. Nice, taking the legs away from Roxanne. Roxanne spills to the outsides. And I think we're going to commercial break. Roxanne is the youngest WWE champion in the modern era or history, says Bryson. Joe said Tiffany is the future. Test of strength. Haven't seen that in 30 years. Tiffany knows she can win. She will be okay, said Austin. Right, so we are at commercial break. This is our final commercial break. And then we will be going back to the final part of the show and finding out who is going to be going up against Lyra Valkyria on Sunday for NXT Battlegrounds. Tiffany's move is really awesome too, with the top rope moonsaults. Tiffany is a better Charlotte. Woo! Hang on, I should have a woo. Hang on. Woo! There we go. I don't even know if you heard it. Don't even know if it's turned up. Oh, it is. Was it not working? My woo's broken. I've broken my woo. No. I'm never gonna woo again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. This is a disaster. I managed to get one woo out. None of my sounds are working. Let's ruin that, innit? I heard it, said Mr. Quake. Well, enjoy it, because all we've got are the memories now. Lyra wants Roxanne, but she's going to get Tiffany. Lyra fears Tiffany. I heard the woo, said Austin. Well, might be the last one you ever hear. God, what is it with me and technology, man? If someone's always breaking all the time, just love one day where everything works. Well, but honestly, it's even changed a different color. These buttons are normally blue, now they're black and they're not working. I've got no wow, I've got no finish him, I've got no... And his name is Jeff. Oh, ho, ho, Merry Christmas. You deserve it. You deserve it. I haven't got any of these. Oh, well, I don't need it because we are back underway. Against the ropes goes Roxanne Perez through the ropes. Suicide dive to Tiffany. Tiffany getting back up as Roxanne goes against the ropes again. Suicide dive as Tiffany goes down again. Tiffany getting chucked back into the ring as Roxanne Perez is battling away. I wonder if Cora might come down and take out Roxanne. Crossbody. Roxanne goes down. She picks up... Tiffany picks up Roxanne. She's got... look at the strength, man. Chucks her on her shoulders. Oh! That's lovely. Like a Death Valley driver as she's going up looking for the moonsault. Lands on her feet, though. Rolls through. Fez press by Roxanne. Roxanne unloading on Tiffany. Tiffany in the corner as Roxanne with a back elbow. Against the ropes goes Roxanne. Uppercut. Tiffany goes down. Roxanne is caught. Picked up. Spine. Oh, nice. Nice. She picked her up. Sit down powerbomb. Oh. Look at that. It's like a spine buster, isn't it? Lovely, lovely. Good work by Tiffany. Tiffany back in control. This match going back and forth. Over in the corner, she drapes Roxanne over that top rope. She's going to look to leg drop, maybe? What's she looking to do? What are you going for, mate? She's got her in the corner looking for some sort of... Well, whatever she was going for, it's she ain't going for it now. Roxy, Hurricanrana. Now looking for the pin. 1, 2. Oh, shoulder up just by Tiffany. Just. Shot to the midsection. Clubbing blows coming in by Roxanne. Roxanne working for Russian leg sweep. Roxy slammed down face first. Tiffany picking up Roxanne. Goes over, looking for the cover. 2, kick out. 1, 2, kick out, back and forth. It was Roxanne with the pin. It was reversed. Then it was Tiffany with the pin. Now it's Roxanne with the pin again. And very weak kick out by Tiffany. She only just managed to kick out then. There was a leg sweep that was in there by Roxanne. Roxanne now urging Tiffany to get back up to her feet. Kick to the midsection by Roxanne. She's going for Pop Rocks, but couldn't get it. I'll tell you what, Tiffany, though, rolls forwards. She's got to in position for the moonsault. Moonsault connects. 2, 3, Tiffany Stratton wins. Tiffany Stratton wins. Yes. Tiffany Stratton is gonna go on to the final where she's surely beaten Lyra VALKYRIA in the final. I think it's Tiffany's time. Tiffany Stratton. Imagine if she manages to get Gigi and JC back together again and we just carry on with Toxic Attraction and hope no one notices that isn't Mandy Rose. Mandy who? I don't know what you mean. It's always been Tiffany Stratton that's been the leader. Well, there we go. Big. That is a big win. That is a big win over the former champion. So the final is set. Lyra VALKYRIA, Tiffany Stratton. It's Tiffany's time, said Austin. She needs to say you can't escape when she does that move like Kenny Omega. That's super good, said Intoxicated Beats. Tiffany time. I said, what about breakfast at Tiffany's? What about the overrun? Well, we're into it, aren't we? We're a minute into it. They're just going through the card. We've got some mystery person attacking Roxanne. Is that the hooded individual? Well, they just attacked but they didn't attack her in the car park? Dijak's coming out now. So we're not done with the show. The hooded mystery person just attacked Roxanne. Now we've got Dijak and Dragunov brawling. Who is that mystery person? Who is that mystery person, I wonder? Blair Davenport was the thought, wasn't it? That was the name that seemed to be on quite a few people's lips. We know that it's not Lyra. Could be Cora, maybe. Contract being signed. Blair Davenport. It's Mandy. Okay, so now Dijak has got Dragunov. So mystery person attacks. No, Roxanne. And now we've got Dijak and Dragunov brawling. They both signed the contract as well. NXT chants. Very surprising as we think, because we was thinking someone. Kelly Kincaid is the mystery woman. Is that the bow tie woman? It's got to be Blair Davenport. We've not seen her since October, says Wilds. It really is Mandy, says William. Paul thinks it's Mandy. Dragunov screaming as he lays out Dijak. It's fired up, man. I tell you what, seeing Dragunov in that kind of state. He's always, I mean, he just lives at 11, doesn't he? He's like the walking embodiment of Spinal Tap. He's just constantly operating at 11. That was sick how he threw that forearm. He went diving off the steps, flying in the air, smashed Dijak, who was on the ground, with like a forearm to the throat. We've witnessed WWE history in this town before, seeing like an old Raw. AWC Legend said, I'm not watching NXT, but the chat is saying Mandy. Is she back? No, it's a mystery person. Some mystery person just attacked... Roxanne, but we don't know who it is. Some people are speculating it might be Mandy. I think the front runner is probably Blair Davenport, to be honest. Because we know that Blair Davenport is signed. Obviously, we don't know that Mandy has returned. To be honest, I mean, I think she's still doing her naughty pictures, isn't she? Isn't she still doing the naughty pictures? So we are just seeing a video package at the moment as we're just finally hyping up Battleground. Blair Davenport, okay, my bad, says Louise. Mandy and Paige Van Zant. It's too skinny for Mandy, said TJ. Naughty pictures. It would be badass if it was Davenport, said Stuart. She just did a shoot with Paige Van Zant. Who did? Mandy. What's your final score? I'm about 7-2, 7-2-5. Yeah. I think I was starting to dip, but I think that Tiffany victory has picked it back up. So, yeah, about 7 for me, I think. Let's get people's scores. Would you introduce Tiffany to Mama Daze? Sure. If she wanted to meet her. 775 62675 575 or below. There we go. I think the tag titles and North American title will change hands at Battleground, said Bryson. It's Wendy Choo Choo Choo. Yes, Mandy and Paige Van Zant got all naughty. Well, you know, it's good to have a hobby. Wan said NXT more unpredictable than Raw and SmackDown, as we know, like some, not all. It's Tessa, says, could you imagine? William. Aubrey Edwards with a 7. TJ with a 7. Mandy stopped making a lot of money, so she's coming back. Only reason, if not, she wouldn't, as we know. Do you think NXT has a good build for Battleground? I think it could have been better. I think I think we're in a difficult place at the moment because we've just lost some decent names. So, you know, I think we've still got some names as well, though. I mean, we've still got the likes of Carmelo and Braun and whatever. But, I mean, to be honest, considering they're going up against AEW Double or Nothing, I think I'm actually really surprised they've not chucked some main roster stars down. I think I'm really surprised they haven't tried to really cause some problems, you know. This easily could have had some main roster stars. We've seen New Day on NXT cards, and we've seen, obviously, Mandy Rose came down. We've seen Dolph Ziggler. We've seen AJ Styles. We've seen some people coming down and, like, you know, giving back, as they like to word it. We've seen Charlotte coming down, and so I think I'm quite surprised that they haven't dug into the main roster and put some star power on this card, considering they're going up against AEW Double or Nothing. But perhaps they're just thinking that perhaps they're thinking that Double or Nothing is going to win the battle. So, you know, even if you do put some main roster talent on the card, you're still not going to beat AEW, because AEW, this is, you know, they only have so many pay-per-views a year, and they've been building to this for a while. You've got the likes of, you know, Jericho. You've got bigger names. And I think maybe NXT has sort of maybe learnt as well that if you do get main roster talent and you bring it into NXT, it doesn't massively change the ratings, to be honest. So I think people know that they know what it is. It's just a short term. They're going down just to try and spike the ratings a little bit. Like, it doesn't really mean anything. They're just there for like a little short time and, you know, then boost the ratings. It's not the same as like with AEW that are doing like, you know, stories and long-term stories and really getting into some stuff. You can't really do that when you know, just send some people down. But, I mean, you know, without overthinking it, you could have come up with some pretty exciting dream matches, couldn't you? You could have come up with something quite tasty. I know that a lot of the talent are going to be in Saudi Arabia, but not all the talent. I'm sure you could still have found some people that aren't going to be at Night of Champions that you know, haven't made that card that could you know, help out on Battleground. I was just trying to think, can I think of a name? And first name that came to mind was like Nakamura, but I don't know. Without like going through the card and coming up with like a bit of a, you could have done this, you could have done that kind of dream card thing. And then I suppose on the other hand, you have to remember this is developmental, and you know, these guys aren't going to get many opportunities to, you know, perform in an arena, and this is good for their development. So it is a balancing act as well. But I mean, if you think about the first Brooklyn NXT takeover Brooklyn, even before AEW was a thought, we were still going out and getting the likes of Jushin Thunder Liger to compete against Tyler Breeze. I mean, that's going all the way back to 2015 when we did that. So, you know, this is 4 years. So I'm not even saying do it for AEW. I just think to give it that little extra star power, that little extra sprinkle. If you had have just gone and managed to get, like, you know, something that just would be quite interesting from the main roster, or even have gone externally. But I mean, AEW have got a relationship with New Japan. They've got relationships with like AAA. I don't know who you could go and get. I don't know who outside of that world you could go and get. So it's tricky, I suppose, outside of just turning to the main roster. Breaker Wrestling usually does shows in Griffith, Indiana. They used the Discovery Charter School in Porter. Good for them, Carmen Live. Good for them. Intoxicated Beats said, I don't watch AEW. The only one I did was when Stardust versus Cody. Dream match. That's a lot of people's dream matches, to have Stardust take on Cody. Right. 75 votes. Keep your votes coming in. Dream matches will hype only for 2 days and then nothing. It won't help much. Yeah, I mean, you might just be able to boost the rating for that show. That's all you would do. Can you just get a bit more interest in Battleground? That would be it. You know, could you get someone from the main roster that's not being used on that cards, put them in a fun match against some up-and-coming NXT talent? And I would say someone that's got some name value as well. Someone that's got some... I mean, honestly, like a Randy Orton would have been brilliant. If Randy, for whatever reason, wasn't on that card at Night of Champions, if you could have got Randy Orton to have took on like someone from NXT, that would have been a big moment for a recent episodes. And I think it would be big enough to really get people thinking about, oh my God, I do want to watch Double or Nothing, but I really don't want to miss that Randy match. You know, Randy Orton against Carmelo Hayes. Like, I really want to see that, man. I really want to see that. Something along those lines is the point I'm making, you know. But you can't have it because we're not allowed to have nice things. Main event should be good, though, said Zoom Station. Should be good. AWC said you missed my super chat. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at getting to super chats. We've learnt this. AWC Legend said, I'm not watching NXT. The chat said about Mandy. We answered that one. Did you send another? Let me have a look. Oh, yeah. How come you're doing NXT over Double or Nothing? Both should be goods. Yeah, well, it's a choice that's got to be made, isn't it? Simple as that. I mean, we could try and watch both at the same time, but I just know that that's not going to make for a good stream. I mean, you could try and watch both at the same time, but the problem with that is that something will happen on one show. You'll be watching that, but then, you know, you'll be missing something on the other show. NXT and AEW fans, I don't think they're going to mix very well. There is a lot of people that watch both, but yeah, I think it's better to just choose one. And honestly, I mean, as I said, we watch NXT, we watch Raw, we watch SmackDown, we watch like WWE, we watch their programming, and when it comes to having to choose between Collision or WWE pay-per-views, we're going to choose WWE pay-per-views on a Saturday as well. So it's one of those. A decision needs to be made. So it just makes more sense to go with the WWE show because we do more of their programming. If we were living in a world where we were doing Rampage, Collision, Dynamite, and we were just, you know, watching the odd Raw or watching a bit of Raw, watching a bit of SmackDown, but we were really like, you know, fully into AEW. We were talking about being the elite. We were talking about, you know, we were just really invested in the AEW stuff. We'd been doing Dark. We'd been doing Elevation. Then I would argue it'd make more sense to do Double or Nothing instead. So that is why. If I can, I'll be watching both, said James. Oh, I was not surprised at that at all. Whichever one you watch is super cool, said Intoxicated Beats. Shout out to you, bud. Appreciate it. Carmen Live said, I give NXT tonight an 8 out of 10. 100% agrees. Someone from the main roster should be on the show to help draw, says John. Should have been PEREZ against Jade going into a live show on the road. Stratton versus Lyra just doesn't do anything. Roxanne against someone from the main roster could have been really interesting. You know, just chuck Randy out there as an example, but we could have looked to have done Could we have done Bailey? Bailey's not on the card, is she? No. Bailey's not on the card. So I don't think Bailey's at Night of Champions. So imagine if we were getting Bailey against Roxanne PEREZ. Pretty sick, wouldn't it? That'd be pretty good. Lyra against Tiffany for the women's title, and then Bailey versus Roxanne PEREZ. I thought we might get that, actually. Do you remember when Bailey came down and... well, not Bailey against Roxanne, but she came down and I did wonder if it was going to lead to a match. And it didn't, which is a shame. But, yeah, you know, look, it is what it is. We're not getting anything like that. We're just getting what we're getting. I am surprised, though. I did think that what with them going up against Double or Nothing, they would go a bit bigger than this. But I think the card still looks fine. I mean, I'm not down on the card at all. I think the card looks pretty fun. And to be honest, it's a Sunday as well. We don't really do anything on a Sunday because there's not really anything that goes on a Sunday. So all of this is just a bonus ball anyway. This weekend, the main focus for us is Night of Champions. And that's going to be a big fun stream. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Anything else is a bonus. Right, talking to that, let's wrap this up because I need to go and do this NXT review. Right, here we go. 8 to 10 got 40% of the vote. 7 to 775, 35%. So that means that 75% of people thought this show was 7 or above. It's good. 6 to 675 got 15%, and 575 or below got 8%. 1 day a week for me. I choose to work Saturday and Sunday. I get the $1. Plus my wife has to work. If she's not with me, it's boring. Justin, shout out to you, buds. John said Bailey PEREZ would bring me to make the 25-minute drive to LOL, said John. Jeremy said, I'm not watching anything. I won't be at home this weekend. It's a big weekend this weekend, actually. If you think about it, there's quite a lot going on in the world of wrestling. So, yeah, should be good. You'll have to try and catch what you can. But, right, we're done. I'm going to shoot. Really appreciate people stopping by, sharing their thoughts. Hope you enjoyed the shows. And as we said, we will be back tomorrow with AEW. And obviously, that's going to be a big show because we're going to find out where Collision is. Which, if it is Chicago, I mean, they are basically saying that CM Punk's going to be there. So, if it's not Chicago, then obviously then things start to look even more interesting because it seems like things will have fallen through. But if they do announce Chicago, surely you're not doing Chicago and not bringing CM Punk. Surely you're not. So, yeah, tomorrow's going to be interesting. That'll be big. That'll be a big moment. So looking forward to that. Obviously, it's a go home as well, though, so I don't know how the actual show will be, but yeah, whatever. We'll watch and see. And then, of course, got SmackDown, and then we've got Night of Champions, then we've got Battleground, then we got Raw, then we got NXT. I mean, going to be busy, so plenty on the way, my friends. Appreciate the support as always. Have a great evening wherever you are, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.